All right, guys, welcome on in to another episode, the first episode of the week, Superman week, and we've got a lot to talk about today. It's going to be a packed week of Superman talk, but we also have some other stuff to get into today. We've got, Scarlett Johansson has become the highest grossing actor in the world. That's exciting. We'll get into that. Of course, her new movie, Jurassic World, just came out and dominated the box office right before Superman comes in, as they're calling him colloquially, Big Blue. So we'll talk about a lot of Big Blue today. We have some other DC news. Is Isa Gonzalez somehow going to be involved in the Batman Part 2? And under Hona, we have some new fan art. Is she actually going to be Wonder Woman? Well, the fan art seems to make you believe that she could do a really good job. At least she can look the part. So we've got that, and we've got so much more, all the stuff James Gunn is talking about with Superman. Today, right now, as we speak, the LA premiere is happening, so we'll get into that. We'll look ahead to that as well. And then, of course, we'll talk about what we're going to be doing the rest of the week with our Superman reviews tomorrow. The social media embargo drops at midnight, which is less than 2 hours away. And then the review embargo drops tomorrow at noon. So to do that, to get through all of that, let's get the news intro in and get the show started. It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always number two.
All right, Mr. I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding.
You're
kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne. I like that. And you're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see corns.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What the
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
All right. Well, it's time for the news. It's going to be a lot of Superman stuff this week, all week, and we're starting the Monday off strong. So we do have a lot of you guys in the chat right now. I already see your names. We'll get into welcoming you guys, but before I can bring you guys in, I have to bring in my fantastic co-hosts. Of course, with me today, I've got both Liz and John. Let's move Liz into the middle like we usually do.
Fantastic. Liz. That's not for another 2 weeks. Like, come on now.
I mean, that doesn't mean you're not fantastic. You are super and fantastic. Speaking of super and fantastic, it was July 4th holiday weekend in the US here, Liz. How did you spend your weekend, and what movies did you see? Because we will talk about a few of them today. And what are you most looking forward to on today's show?
I saw F1, which I love, but y'all already talked about that, so I won't get into it. I saw Megan 2.0, and I also saw Heads of State on Prime. I think it's on Prime. So we'll talk all about that later on, but my weekend was very nice. I hope everyone had a lovely weekend themselves. I saw some family, did a little R&R with some friends. It's a very nice weekend.
Absolutely. And speaking of the weekend, John, I know that you lazed out a little bit, but did you get a chance to see any movies? Are you excited for Superman? It's this time tomorrow, we'll be talking about Superman. How exciting is that? You and I have been on this journey for well over a year now.
Yes. Although my my weekend was pretty good. I didn't watch any movies. I did watch the Back to the Beginning festival, which was very good. Although I will say they need to fire their sound designer because holy fuck was it bad. They needed for a concert, you think that the sound would be the most important part, but they kind of dropped the ball there.
I think the venue also added to that, though. It just didn't.
But outside of that, it was good.
Yeah.
That the festival concert, whatever you want to call it, was really good. Outside of Axl Rose, who sounds like Carl Weezer now, but that's par for the course, bro.
At least he finally cut his hair.
Well, we're going to get into that later in the show because, we have lots of news today. But, John, the first thing we're going to kick off with on the news today is something a little more, somber, as it were. Yes. It's something that happened early in the weekend, but, it's just you hate to see it. And he, as in Julian McMahon is, spent a lot of his time in the early 2000s, especially, and then of course even beyond that, in so many well-renowned projects, from what he did on television to what he did in the movies, especially in the case of like the movies that and what's coming out in July, Fantastic Four. I mean, then he was also involved with Marvel's Runaways, and before that, you had what was the why am I forgetting? Was it
He was
Charmed?
just in The Surfer.
Yeah, it was in
he,
Surfer.
and he was excellent in that film.
Yeah.
So it's like so weird. Like I just see him in this amazing movie that reminds us why he's so talented, and it just like after that, like I will say he did look a bit thinner in that movie, but like it like kind of I thought it was like a character thing because he, was kind of like this like guru guy, and he wasn't exactly supposed to be like super like buff or anything like that. So I'm like, oh, but like looking back, I'm like, oh, maybe that was like kind of the start of it, or that was during. Again, it wasn't a bad thing. It was he's still like I will say I'm the only person of my friend group that likes that movie, and I think both Julian McMahon and Nick Cage did a magnificent job in that film. I thought it was very well done. It's a very hard movie to watch, but it's still a great, intriguing and satisfying one. So if you can see it, I weirdly recommend it, but at the same time, I would understand if people hate it because it's not for everybody. But Doctor Doom obviously is the big one. Kind of wasted in those movies, but he still did do as much as he could. And then in Charmed and Nip Tucker, his other two big roles. Runaways was another big one that he was in. So very underrated actor. Unfortunately, never really got to forge the legacy he should have gotten, I think. But still a tremendous talent that was, taken away too soon.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I remember obviously, from those Fantastic Four movies. That's where I most remember him from. And even in recent times, I think he was asked about, hey, did they invite him back? He's like, I would love to go back and take part in the new Secret Wars crossover, but I don't think he was even an invite. But also, obviously, he probably wasn't, in hindsight, in a good position to go take part, even if he were to be offered, because he was having a battle with cancer that he ultimately lost. Liz, what do you most remember Julian McMahon for? And obviously, we talked. John listed out the many credits that he has. He certainly leaves behind quite the legacy. But what do you most remember him for?
Yeah, for me, I think the first time he was really on my radar was Charmed. That was one of the big shows that I watched growing up in high school. But he's just that face that you always see, but like it takes you forever before you realize like you remember his name. You know what I mean? Like because he's always just kind of just, oh, there's that guy. I've seen him before and things. But yeah, everybody knows him as the Nip Tuck guy. He was, that I think is what really kind of launched him. But I just he's been in so many things. It was really shocking to hear what happened to him. That's a real shame. And for some reason, I mean, I get it. You want your privacy and stuff, but it's sad that we don't hear about these things that these people go through until it's all over. So he's definitely going to be missed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our thoughts and prayer, he's going to be in our thoughts and prayer. Our condolences go out to Julian McMahon, his friends and family, and in general, the Marvel family, the superhero family that we're all part of. So, of course, you guys are welcome to get in the comments and let us know what you most remember Julian for, whether it is Doctor Doom, Runaways, Charmed, or the many different projects and that he was a part of. And of course, beyond that, the human being that he was and has, moved on to the great beyond. With that, before we move on to the next thing, I did want to say hello to some of the folks in the chat. We've got Hugo Millie joining in. He was the first one in the chat. You got Monique in here as well. Figure Drawing dropped in, and talking about Cavill Superman and David Cornswell Superman. Fiona was here. Moderator Fiona is here. Of course, Liz is hanging out in the chat. We got Smacky here. Frankie G saying hi. So Jalen's here. Jalen was he's popping up. Chuck Rod is here. Enterprising is here. Eugene is here in the chat. I know you guys are already getting into a very lively conversation. Movie Spud is here. He's a little nervous. He also wishing Julian McMahon and his best wishes. Jurassic World Rebirth, we will get into that with the box office report, so don't you worry, movie spud. And yeah, we will talk about all the embargo breaking ways of the various internet outlets that we have to get into. Jalen is already saying hi to Liz. Who else did I miss anybody to that? We will get into that. Enterprising, hold your breath. We will talk about some of the early reactions that perhaps they shouldn't be out right now because the embargo hasn't come down yet. But it does come down in less than 2 hours from when we are doing this live. So maybe by the time we finish, the embargo will lift. So we'll get at least the social media reactions. But anyway, John, let's get into our first story, shall we? The very first thing we want to talk about outside, well, obviously we just did the Julian McMahon story, but we do want to start the show off. We have some Superman news coming up later, some box office report later, but we come up with different names. We go into our AI name generator. We come up with random things. Usually, it's something corny. So MovieTalk Madness is what we went with because Liz, despite the fact that it was a holiday weekend and while John was just chilling and I went to see actually F1. You went to see F1. I mean, Fiona went to see F1. I mean, a lot of people did because my theater was an IMAX and it was packed to the brim. Like literally, I was like, if we waited 10 more minutes, I didn't think we were going to get seats in the showing I was going to go to. And that was after I couldn't go to two other theaters closer to us because they were sold out. So let's do some movie talk madness, Liz. You haven't been on the show in a while. So where do you want to start? Which movie would you like to start by talking about?
Are we going to talk about F1? Because I feel like John already talked about it. So
John did talk about it. Do you want to give us a quick, your quick thought?
So
listen, real quick.
We knew F1 was going to be amazing. Visually, the number one thing I kept thinking throughout the entire film was, how much freaking money did they spend? Because they totaled a lot of Formula One cars, and those are like $1 billion a piece. And so every time one that got smashed up or something, I was like, oh my god, who cut these checks? But I will say, I texted both John and Dan this when I left the theater. I was like, well, we know who sponsored this film right off the bat because I hate glaring product placement. I hate in-your-face product placement. Now, I understand with the racing community, it's the badges everywhere, the patches everywhere, the stickers all over the cars. I get that. That's a part of it. Totally fine. But literally within the first 5 minutes, you knew Shark, who owns the Ninja blender, the production of this film. Mercedes had a hand in it because every single actor in the film drove a Mercedes and really souped up flashy, so you can't miss the fact that it is a Mercedes. And I was like, it just hit me straight in the face, and I was like, okay, I know who cut some checks here. But other than that, everything
Mercedes
else about
built the cars for
well, fine, yeah. And that's fine. But other than that, everything else about it was incredible. Visually, it was amazing. The soundtrack was amazing. Everything fit, all the different angles made you feel like you were in the car. The way they did the camera right at the steering wheel, so when their hand would go over one, it would be Brad Pitt, then the hand would come back and it would be Desmond. It was wild. So I dug it. I dug the hell out of it. I was texting my mother literally in the theater. I was like, you need to see this film right now. Literally get out of work and go see it. Just so great. Everything that everybody has already said. I feel the same way. I really liked it. I will say I didn't care for the ending as far as Brad Pitt's character is concerned, because he suffers an injury and they say you can't race, you can't do anything ever again. You're gonna kill yourself, and then he ends up running over buggies, going 50 feet in the air and landing hard. I'm like,
okay, Fiona said the same thing, but this is what I'm going to say to that, right? Because it's been the most handsome man in the movie was not even Brad Pitt. It was Javier Bardem.
Javier Bardem looked so good.
I'm a straight man, and I can admit that Javier Bardem was
looked great too. Everybody looked wonderful in
it. So what I'm going to say, it was in that scene, Javier Bardem is looking at his medical chart, and at the end, before he tosses it, he says, and that was 30 years ago. So
right.
That report was
no,
from 30
but in
years
the
ago,
end,
so
at the end of the film, so Brad Pitt again. I try not to spoil things, but it's gonna happen on this show. I just have to live with it. So in the end, Brad Pitt's character gets into another accident. And Javier's like, that was 30 years ago and you should have told me. And then Brad goes back and races anyway, and he starts to have blurred visions. He starts to have a little bit of difficulty.
Yep,
So
totally.
clearly he's not 100% after this now second accident. So again, the doctors are telling him, you cannot race. Javier is telling him, you cannot race. And he races and he wins, all good. And then he goes, like I said, and he goes and he races Baja over dune buggies when he's got a bad back. It's not like there's some
I know
lumbar
that's
support. It's not like he's got any
it's
cushioning. He's
bad.
landing after flying 50 feet over these dunes. So Brad Pitt, so we know in the end of this film, Brad Pitt's character basically unalives himself. So okay, it happened. We can't have a sequel because there's no way he's coming back from that. I've accepted it. I've moved on. But anyway, F1 was
Yes.
amazing. If you guys like quality cinematography, really, again, the chemistry between everybody was fantastic. I thought everyone played off one another really, really well. I dug it. I dug the heck out of it. So that's all
Yeah,
I'm
it
going to say
was
about that.
it
What's
was a
the
lot
F1?
of fun. And you know what is one of those really watchable, fun movies for
So
the summer.
so entertaining,
So
so watchable.
yeah,
And even though it's over 2 hours long, you're in it the entire way. There's really no come down. There's really no
Oh yeah.
moment where you're like, oh, like what, I can go take a piss, whatever. Like you're in it the whole time. And it's just so great.
yeah. Well, I mean, look, F1 is actually now the highest grossing movie in the history of Apple Films. It's also doing really well. We'll talk about it in the box office report. It had a drop, but not a bad drop at all. So we'll talk about that. But before we get to the box office report, John, let's continue on the movie madness. So the next thing we got to talk about, Liz, you also saw two other movies this weekend,
Yeah. So,
but one of
well,
them you
following
saw at home.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So
Yes, go
following
ahead.
so following F1, I want to get into Heads of State with
Hmm.
Idris Elba and John Cena because they share an actress in the two films. So in F1, we see Sarah Niles, who played the therapist in Ted Lasso. She plays Damson's mother in F1. She is
Hmm.
also a part of John Cena's administration. He's the president of the United States and Heads of State, and she is a member of his administration. And I was like, holy crap, I literally just saw her in F1. Like, I'm so excited to see Sarah making all kinds of money. Like, look at that girl. Hopefully she comes back for the next iteration of Ted Lasso. Right? But also, I now heard this woman like 4 different actors. But anyway, Heads of State, you guys, I watch these movies so you don't have to. How many times am I going to say it? We knew that this movie was terrible. We all saw the previews. We all saw the trailers. We knew it was a trash film. Was it an entertaining trash film? It absolutely was. But a trash film nonetheless, gang. The best part about it was Priyanka Chopra Jonas, I should say. She kicks major ass in this film. She is unbelievable. Like, quite frankly, she should be the next Wonder Woman if we want to see some badass ladies throwing hands. It's Priyanka. Um, and there's also a scene with Jack Quaid, which I don't think they showed him in the
Oh, there she goes. I think her connection's faulty. But I
Oh,
do
she'll be
remember
back.
Jack Quaid. He had like
Yes.
a fucking skibbity riz broccoli haircut in the trailer. Um, you know,
There was actually something really cool because I know Liz mentioned that she really loved the Jack Quaid part of the movie. I mean, hey, Jalen saying he thought it was average, Eugene saying haven't seen
Yeah,
it.
it's
So
not good. It's not good. It's something to have on in the background. Like the action's pretty good. But it's really as far as like like the writing is absolute trash. Like they purposely put in like there was a storyline around puns around like creating puns for whatever situation they're in, and like they knew it was bad. They knew they were making a bad film. They knew they were writing a bad film, but it got greenlit and they said, "Hey, we've got John Cena and Idris Elba and Priyanka Chopra Jonas and Jack Quaid," and they said, "Sure, go for it. Make a movie, have lots of explosions. We don't care if it's good or bad." And it's so very bad. I watched it with friends and my friend was like really mad at me that I suggested we check it out. She's like, "I can't believe I just wasted 2 hours of my life." But hey, the action scenes were good. So if you like just an action movie for the
there he
sake, oh
is.
my, see dude, his scene was so great. His one little action sequence he had was so awesome. The soundtrack again, very good on this film as well, just like F1. But don't see it thinking it's going to be like your movie of the summer. It's not. It's terrible. It's a really bad film. But it is entertaining at like the most basic level. So if you've got some time, you want to throw it on in the background just to see what it's about, I would recommend it in that regard. But again, not one that and it's not family friendly, I would say as well. There is some cursing, there is some violence. People do get shot in the head. So it's more, you know, like I said, if you want to play it on in the background, go for it. But I'm actually, yeah, the popcorn meter is pretty accurate. I was surprised by that number, but that's pretty accurate. And so yeah. Again, I watch these films so you guys don't have to. You're welcome, figure drawing.
I mean, look, 67% is not bad. And you know, okay, so one of the things we're gonna get into later in the Superman news is one of the ways that, okay, so we're gonna talk about it in more detail later, but one of the ways in which I think it was the Variety critic kind of broke the Superman embargo was they were reviewing Heads of State and ended up saying that Heads of State is actually, in their opinion, better than Superman, which they said was very silly in comparison, even sillier than Heads of State. I'm like, okay, interesting. But I mean, hey, 67% is actually a passing grade, and 77%, well, not exactly, you know, something to write home about. It's not bad. I mean, it's on Amazon Prime, so people can sit at home and watch it. So it certainly removes one barrier of entry. Like, you don't have to go to a movie theater for it. But I know all of us on the show prefer to watch a movie in a movie theater, and the fact that they put it on streaming, usually it's a sign that the movie's not good enough to be in a movie theater, and they don't want to spend the money marketing it. So yeah, well, figure drawing, it was one of what's going to be at least a few hundred, if not more, reviews. And not to mention, we're going to talk about Jurassic World in a little bit, and Jurassic World is the perfect example of a franchise that is completely, you know, critics proof, as they call it. So, and you know what, James Gunn hasn't missed the mark yet, so just hold on to your horses. We're going to get there. We're going to talk all about that. But anyway, I don't want to distract away from Heads of State. I personally still going to watch this because this is turn off your brain and have fun kind of a movie. So
I feel like you would enjoy it, Dan. I think that you would. Again, Priyanka Chopra was what made the movie for me. She just did the damn thing. She came out and they were like, "We're just gonna have you beat down everyone," and she's like, "Bet, no problem." It was great. It was really cool to see her in a role like that.
Yeah, I mean, I love me some Priyanka Chopra. I've been watching Priyanka Chopra for a lot longer than most people, probably because I remember when she started out in Bollywood, so I've seen a lot of her early movies, and I think she's always been a fantastic actress. It's just unfortunate that the roles she's been landing in Hollywood, like, I mean, between this and the Citadel franchise, I'm sure she's getting paid well, but it's like none of these things are really good or anything that you could put on your resumes, be like, look at what I did, you know, like that was one of the best performances of my career. So anyway, Heads of State, we can't talk about box office because the movie's not
Peacemaker
in the movie
and Bloodsport get reunited. So
hey,
here we are.
There you go.
And I will say, we always talk about how we want The Rock and John Cena to kiss in the intro. There's a spot where John Cena and Idris are in a really tight elevator and they just kind of like stare at each other in the eye, and I'm like, oh, that's it. Do it. Come on. So John Cena has, like, you know, I'm going to give him the title of like never been kissed, because he just keeps finding himself in these situations where he's.
Yeah. Well, John, that was not the only other movie that we're going to talk about. I know Liz is kind of dropping in and out, so we'll try to, you know, keep a check on that. But we do have one other movie that Liz wanted us to talk about, because I know we've been discussing it in the last several weeks. On Friday we're talking about like how, I don't know, like what happened with Megan 2.0. Before Liz gets into her comments, and we'll see if Liz can jump back into the show in a second. But John, have you done any more meditation on why Megan 2.0 flopped ultimately?
Because it fucking sucks. I don't know. That could entirely be it.
Really good point.
Maybe it's just a terrible movie. Maybe it's just bad. Like, and people were like, you know what? We're good. And I love how, like, all the people that like the movie, all 5 of them, were like, oh, people couldn't handle the tonal shift. It's like, or maybe people don't want to watch a bad movie. Just saying. I know.
Yeah, they shouldn't. Welcome back, Liz. Are you everything okay over there?
You guys, I don't know what's going on. I keep getting kicked out of the room, but I'm still seeing all the chat going on YouTube. Everything else is working fine. I'm not sure what's happening with our stream.
Oh, you still there? Did she? Have you lost internet? Uh-oh. John, are you the only one here?
I'm okay.
Are the two of us talking to each other right now?
I can hear you.
Okay.
She says her Wi-Fi is strong, so I don't know.
My wife.
Hello, there's two of you.
I can send.
Oh my God, there's two of them.
I can send you a screenshot. My Wi-Fi is connected. Everything is good. It's full bars. I don't know what to tell you. And like I said, the YouTube chat is still going, so I'm still live. Everything else is running. It's just this stream that doesn't like me.
I don't know, but let's shit out this Megan review before you get kicked out again.
It's weird to me that they're still trying to label this as a horror film, because they absolutely decided that it was going to be a comedy instead, and it was, and I enjoyed it. I liked it better than the first one, because it just made fun of itself the entire time, and it was great. The action was good. It ends as obviously as it began, and if you liked the first Megan, you're gonna like this one even more. That's all I can tell you. I've got nothing else for you. It's a terrible film, but again, they know what they've made, and they acted accordingly. And like I said, they've turned it into a comedy instead. It's not a horror by any means. Yes, limbs get chopped off, the normal stuff, but really there was no jump scares. They weren't trying to terrify anybody. It's just robot Barbie dolls beating the crap out of each other, but with a little humor thrown in. So I dug it. It was entertaining. I know John wants nothing to do with it, but hey, I had a good time.
And that's all I can hope for the people that watched the film. I mean, some people didn't, but that's just how it be.
There was a decent amount of people in my theater too, so
I was just gonna say one of the
base for it.
I think the biggest problem with this movie was I think there were three big problems. One, it was a bad movie in general, so that doesn't help it.
Two, but again, it is going into it. That's the thing.
I completely get that, but there's a difference between so bad as good and just bad, right? So I think this kind of leaned more towards, for most people, bad. The other thing, I think Eugene Johnson pointing out the idea that the first movie came out in like the early winter months, right? Like it was January or something like that. That's a time when you can make a lot of money. Like right now with Superman coming out, Jurassic World coming out, you got F1 was dropping the same weekend as Megan 2.0. There was too much competition. Like it doesn't have the room, it doesn't have the room to make the kind of money it needed to.
They should have, what they should have done? They should have switched Megan, M3gan, and Wolfman, because Wolfman, they knew that movie was fucking bad, so they should have just shit that out in June. Nobody was going to remember it with all those movies coming out. Boom, there you go. M3gan, it was released in January. It was a huge hit because there's no competition in January, because January is the shitty month where all the shitty movies come out, so it's going to have no competition, and thus people are going to maybe enjoy it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the genre change was also something like that. Like one of you guys asking, is this the female Terminator 2? People described it that way. That was one of the
except
things.
Not nearly as fucking good, because it's not directed by James motherfucking one of the greatest crew directors who have ever lived, Cameron. Yeah, he's an idiot, and his Oppenheimer take is fucking bullshit. But the man has a filmography that speaks for itself, even with crap like the Avatar movies. But still,
Well, Liz is back, by the way. Hey, welcome back, Liz. Sorry. Okay.
Who knows for how long?
Well, just to let you guys know, I know you guys are mentioning like Ethernet, like who was it, figure drawing Ethernet. Look, most of us are on Ethernet, and the problem is not the Ethernet. The problem is the fact that all of us are experiencing some really bad stormy weather in the area. So
I'm not on Ethernet. I'm on that.
Yeah. So hey, honka. Okay, Caleb is, by the way, just want to welcome. We got Caleb in the chat now. We also have Ron in the chat. Who's been talking to you about I'm guessing Megan 2.0. Man of Steel Magnolia is here. Of course, we also have Calm Down Rich, who enjoyed Heads of State. So Liz, he sort of agrees with your take. It's a Planes meets John Wick. There you go. So everybody who's here, you know what? We'll keep the show running because we have a lot more to get into. And if there's the reason why there's three of us, so that there's redundancy. If one goes, there's still two. If two goes, there's still one. So if all three of us drop out, the chances of that, Benny in the chat saying two of her. She's from the future. Skynet is here. Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. Liz, do you have anything else to say about either of those movies before we move on to the next thing?
No. Nope. Let's keep it moving.
Cool. All right, John. So the next thing that we have to get into now is we're going to get back to the news from Movie Madness, and let's talk about Superman, right? So we always break up Superman news into two pieces. So we have to we're going to do our final preview of Superman later in the show. We have some final box office tracking numbers. We have like all the stuff James Gunn has been saying about it, all the review embargo breaking that was happening. But before we get that far, we're going to talk about all the Superman sponsorship stuff that happens. They've been doing this marketing blitz, and that blitz is getting to a point where literally today I had to leave just as many things off the show rundown as I actually had on the rundown. So with that, let's start off with the first thing here, John. If you want to click on those images,
Yes.
Screen Rant put this up, and I think there's a few interesting things. And if you want to read these off for us, John, because you have a better view of this than the rest of us.
I don't. My camera's right in front of all the wording. So,
okay. All right. Well, if you can zoom into it a little bit more, or I don't know if you can zoom into it.
I can't zoom
Basically,
into it more.
Screen Rant was one of many outlets that got to go on a set visit last summer when they were filming, and these are some of the things they talked about that they got to learn on the set visit. So most of these we already know about, so I'm going to go through quickly and stop at the ones that are news to us. So David Cornsweet has having no struggle with the Superman responsibility. We know that. It begins with Superman at his lowest point, which is something interesting because this is only like year 2, year 3 Superman, I think James Gunn said. So it's pretty early in his career. But we do know the movie starts with him hitting the snowy dunes in the Arctic or Antarctica, which is what is in the trailers, of course, and that was one of the first things they shot in Svalbard. Then we have, of course, Cornsweet being more excited to play Clark Kent than Superman. That's interesting. Cornsweet started training for Superman during the writer's strikes in 2023, so that's interesting. All-Star Superman is a big inspiration for the gentle nerdiness of Superman, which we knew about. James Gunn has told us this. It won't include much of Mr. Terrific's backstory, which we also knew about. And the one thing that was news in here is that Mr. Terrific and Superman's relationship is complex, and also Lex Luthor and Mr. Terrific have their own rivalry. John, do you care to comment on that? Do you think that's because they're both tech magnates that Mr. Terrific and Lex Luthor sort of have a bit of a rivalry going on? Obviously, Superman and Mr. Terrific, we know, won't necessarily see eye to eye all the time, but the thing about Lex Luthor and Mr. Terrific is a lot more interesting to me.
Sorry. I do think that is pretty interesting. I think, that makes sense, and it feels like I feel like there is also going to be a lot of butting heads between Terrific and Lord because he's part of that team, and I feel like Maxwell Lord is kind of still emotionally bankrupt in comparison to Mr. Terrific, so there's that as well. But it makes sense that, Mr. Terrific would be battering heads with Lex Luthor, or Simon Stagg is battering heads with, all of these guys, all these, really, these magnates are gonna, be at odds with one another because they, Lex is, the fucking, he's top dog, smartest guy in the world, blah, blah, blah. So he thinks he's the greatest, and the ego and all that stuff. So it's all kind of interesting, and it works out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be interesting because these are all things they're laying the groundwork for sequels and other stories down the road. Because I highly doubt Lex Luthor is going to go mad and be relegated to the evil corner of the DCU by the end of this movie, like what they did in BVS. And Mr. Terrific, obviously, while he is the most fleshed out supporting character in this movie of the other metahumans, he still is firmly a supporting character. So we hope to see more from him. So we'll keep an eye out for that. I think Eddie Gattegi, of course, mentioning that he hopes the DCU expands on Mr. Terrific. We've heard that from him multiple occasions. And then Krypton will not appear in the Superman movie, but might later. That's something which I think James Gunn sort of hinted at before. I don't know, John or Liz, if you remember this coming up before, but the fact that we're not going to get any Krypton in this movie is kind of interesting. And also, to add on top of that, they're not treating this Fortress of Solitude like the crashed Kryptonian ship in Man of Steel. This Fortress of Solitude is basically like a man cave for Superman, kind of inspired by the Silver Age. So it kind of goes to show that he's built a lot of that, or like he's played a big part in making it what it is, rather than just he stumbled upon it one day and decided this was going to be, you know, where all the Kryptonian tech lives. Two very different takes. So that's interesting. Superman only has one suit in the movie, so that's confirmed now. We know that there's not a suit change at the end of this movie. It's probably not going to be until the next movie. James Gunn did say that they will probably change things up in the future. Of course, Nicholas Hoult saying he feels fortunate that he actually didn't get the part for Superman or Batman. Instead, he got Lex Luthor, so he can, you know, really like, you know, chum it up as the villain, which if you go by the trailers, he's having a lot of fun doing that. And then the movie begins after Lex Luthor's plans have been crafted. So it seems like James Gunn has mentioned, we picked things up right in the middle of the action when this movie starts. So we're not going into the movie, you know, with something that establishes where we are. No, we're just gonna get directly into the film from the get-go, which is great. I love the idea of that. But John, if you want to slide over to the next screen, there are like, you know, another 15 things that we can kind of jump through real quick. So Luthor doesn't have, you know, as big of a grudge with the other metahumans or superheroes in this world as he does with Superman, and that's interesting. I wonder how they're going to explore that, because maybe it's something to do with the fact that we have talked about from when they were filming the movie last year. A lot of the superheroes in this world are like sort of like corporate superheroes. They don't really operate outside of the bounds of other entities, whereas Superman is the first one who comes in and just says, I'm going to go interfere in a foreign country's affairs, and then, you know, who cares? I save people from dying. Like, you know, doesn't seem to be what, you know, anybody else is doing. So that's more confirmation on that. The idea that Lois Lane clashes with Superman over being more short-sighted ties into that whole situation. And the fact that Rachel Brosnahan now has a bug for action movies explains why she was in that other movie with Rami Malek, and it looks like she's going to do more of those.
2 seconds, but you know.
Well, you know, she's trying to find her way through this. Lois Lane also has the most interactions with Mr. Terrific, which I mean, we've seen seemingly outside of Superman, Mr. Terrific only interacting with Lois Lane, because we've seen her in that, like, whatever, the Lex Luthor prison. We have seen her with Mr. Terrific, like, out in the desert with Luthor Corps soldiers. And then the other thing was the tone of this movie is less comedic. Not to mention, Rachel Brosnahan, you know, wants to be in this DCU for 10, 15 plus years, which I'm not surprised. I feel like most of these actors are being hired in to be that for a long time.
Be in that for a while, yeah.
And then Skylar Gisondo, apparently, I don't know how he got this idea. I think we talked about this the other day, that he thought he was being auditioned for Superman. He was like, I don't know, they're going for a different take, so I guess this works. Cool, I guess I auditioned for Superman. It reminded me of that, like, remember that one actor for The Dark Knight? Remember when they were auditioning for the Christian Bale version of The Dark Knight for Nolan? And this one actor completely misses the mark, and like we have the
Ian Bailey, I think his name was.
Yeah, he like totally missed I think he thought they were gonna go with like the Batman and Robin comedic version of the character. Like, he totally missed the mark. I'm like, that's how far off type Skylar Gisondo would be. So that was interesting.
But it's because of that, it's really fitting for Jimmy Olsen to do that, hence why he got a call back. So
yeah, which makes sense. Yeah, I'm glad there's no last minute suit changes in this movie, Caleb. Jimmy Olsen doesn't know who Clark Kent is. We already know that too. Skylar has already mentioned that on multiple occasions. I'm not surprised to hear that we're going to get more of that dynamic between Skylar Gizondo's, Jimmy Olsen, and Lois Lane and everybody at the Daily Planet. Skylar Gisondo and Sarah Sampaio trusting James Gunn. Duh, they're in his movie, so why would they not trust him? And they're also probably in two of their biggest roles of their careers. Clark's relationship to the Daily Planet workers is very different, which without context, we can't really judge that, I guess, but we will see in the movie. Superman may not rely as much on John Williams. So
I don't know,
indicating,
but that is terrible, Caleb.
That would be very Lex Luthor thing to do. Certainly better than, trying to make the whole thing a real estate scam. But anyway,
or
fact
shove
thing
Jolly
that
Ranchers into people's mouths.
that too. We will get to that in a little bit, John. We have something about that. But not relying on John Williams as much. I mean, Liz, we know that they have two composers in this movie, and obviously the first trailer was very much like a riff on the original John Williams theme. But I'm kind of glad that they're going in a different direction, and we're not gonna. Maybe we'll get that theme, but then we won't get that as the only theme. Like they'll probably expand from there and bring in other, original music pieces, because obviously there's no needle drops in this movie, so they have to rely on the score. And then the last thing was Superman only has 2 moments of future DCU setup. So that's a big one too. I mean, I wanted to quickly, before we move on to the rest of this, John, Liz, there's apparently only 2 things that this movie sets up for the future of the DCU. What are those 2 things, do you guys care to speculate? Like, Liz, do you care to speculate what Superman might be setting up? Oh, Liz has just dropped out again. John, how about you?
If I were to take a guess, it's the 2 things that are being filmed right now or just finished filming
Supergirl?
or in post-production is
Yeah.
Supergirl and Lanterns, considering that Supergirl is the cousin of the main character and there is a Green Lantern in this movie. I'm gonna take a wild guess. It's probably those 2 things.
Yeah.
Or maybe Peacemaker with the Justice Gang, but I feel like that there is something. It would maybe, I don't think they're going to set it. I mean, James Gunn already said they're not going to set things up, but it would be kind of be like Guy Gardner in a post-credit scene being like, I'm being called about a murder in the Midwest. Fuck that shit. And he just like is like eating popcorn on the couch.
Yeah. By the way, Frankie, we will bring in that. We have part of that David and Rachel EW interview because yes, there's a funny clip in there somewhere that we'll talk about that later. And yes, Eugene, this is a year 3 Superman last I checked. James Gunn was talking about, so younger Superman, certainly younger than at least in his superheroing days than Batman will be. And yeah, domestic box office. We'll talk about Hello Manos Time. And Elite Easy is here. I hope the DCU Joker steals tech from Cadmus Star Labs. Yeah, somebody has to crowbar Jason Todd. True. Okay. Christian is also here in the chat. Don't want to be negative, but people say it's silly and disappointing because Superman dialogue whines like Star-Lord and it's overstuffed with characters that the jokes don't land. Yeah, but here's the thing. There's only a couple of people who accidentally, let's say, broke the embargo so far.
Yeah.
And we also have a couple of positive ones as well. So we'll talk about that later in the show.
I feel like here's what I'm gonna guess. Now, first off, these are critics. The critics don't know shit. But even outside of that, I do think it'll be mixed from critics because I feel like there are going to be a lot of them that embrace this, and then a lot of people that are like, "Oh, it's too much. I don't like this." I feel like if I were to guess a critic score, because I was talking about the audience score in terms of like the 81%, the thing I guessed. I would probably guess more like 70, 65 to 70 around there for like critics, where it's like more mixed. And I think with the audience, it's going to be more mixed to positive. So like that's what I'm guessing with this one.
Yeah. By the way, yes, the red carpet in LA is happening right now, the world premiere, and Annie Muschietti was there. So we will bring that. And we have actually got a new Superman video drop. We have a new Superman video dropping talking about how James Gunn is making...
Eugene is based. Let's go. Anyway.
Okay.
Thanks,
what
Eugene.
I was saying before that, we do have we have a... What am I saying? Okay, by the way, the premiere is, the red carpet premiere is done. I think they're doing like the screening and Q&A session, which they're not streaming. But what I will say is we have a new Superman video dropping tomorrow. So make sure to tune in for that. It's not going to be a live show. It's just going to be a video. And essentially, it's going to be all about how James Gunn is making Superman more relatable. So we will include the footage from the red carpet premiere and everything. So be sure to check that out. That we would love for you to take part in that. And yeah. Let's keep the conversation going. We got Christian in the chat. We got Manos is here. TC24 dropped in. Of course, Elite Easy we've already talked about. So yeah, we've got lots more. Pacerland is here. Thank you, Pacerland, for that shout out on the red carpet stream. So, John, while Liz is, I think, just coming back in, let's keep going to the next thing. We have a million different Superman things still to dive into. The next one is essentially there's like a new zipline ride in the UK that's Superman themed. Like they put a helmet on you with a Superman sticker, and if you want to know what it feels like to fly, I guess this is one way of going about it. Would either of you guys try? Liz, would you try this for yourself?
Hell yeah, I would. Yeah. I have all the faith in the world in the safety engineers. I'm not concerned as long as I'm in a harness with a helmet on. Let's go. Let's do it. That'd be great.
Exactly. I mean, John, what do you think? Would you try this?
Fuck no. I ain't doing that shit. I am not. No. The farthest I have gone, I went on a roller coaster once, and I'm like, I'm good. That's fine. That's as far as I go. I'm okay. I could like feel the wood shaking beneath me, like my balls.
Oh, you were in a
crushed.
wooden coaster. Very
it
nice.
Was like
classic.
Nope, none of that. No, nope. Bungee jumping, skydiving. I prefer to be on the ground, 2 feet firmly planted on the ground, unless I have to travel somewhere in a plane. That I'm cool with. That's fine. Safest way to travel. However, I ain't doing this like, oh, I can jump out of a plane. Cool. I'll like go see a movie. Like I can like get just as much, or like eat a bar of chocolate. That gives me like the same dopamine rush. And I ain't fucking doing this shit. No way. No, I'm sorry. No, I don't care. If you do this, you have a chemical imbalance in your brain. If you enjoy it, that's fine. You have a chemical imbalance. That's just a fact at this point. Yeah. I don't get people who do this, but like, feel free, enjoy it. But I ain't doing that.
I'll just say we do it. Actually, Eugene, we have we have the oldest wooden roller coaster in the United States in Connecticut at Lake Compounds, and
that's the one I went on. It's both.
It does jerk you around way too much. I'm not a fan. I also wouldn't try that ride unless I was like I could load up on a bunch of Dramamine before I could do it, because I don't know. It's I don't know.
You're looking very smudgy.
You guys, I can't. I don't know. Solar flares.
Benny was asking a quick question. What's your opinion on the Superman clown feet that was in the trailer? Usually you don't see movie flips till after the movie's out on video. So basically he's talking about, there's one, the shot where Crypto is nipping at the cape in the fortress and Superman's trying to be like, stay, and then walk. Apparently they were using some kind of really wide angle lens, and there's distortion at the edge of the frame where one of his boots gets extended. So his instead of looking like a normal
I didn't even notice
boot,
that.
It looks extra stretched out, and somebody it's you nitpicking. If you go and look at that level, I bet you will find a million other things in 1,000 other movies where they've had the same problem. But when the movie's playing, it's going to be gone in a split second. Most people didn't even catch it in 60
seconds.
So they could have corrected it by now anyway, so.
Yeah, usually when they use movie lenses, they're using really high-end lenses which have correction for distortion across the lens, but every once in a while this will kind of get in there. So look, the audience score for the Superman will be important, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But John, let's keep the ball rolling. We got to get through all this other Superman stuff. Then we have some box office stuff to talk about as well. So this next thing is they put out this Choose to Believe Superman teaser, which mostly has footage we have seen before, but there was an extended shot of that fight with not Ultraman, the bizarre, what do you call it? The Hammer of Baravia. We do get some Ultraman footage. We get Lex Luthor just doing a fist pump because he's winning for a moment. We see more of the people we saved in that foreign country. And we get that Crypto shot at the end, which I think is honestly going to be the best shot of the whole film. Liz, your thoughts on this? Did you get a chance to see this?
Yeah, I'm still just as pumped as ever. I'm all in. I am not listening to the haters. I am completely ignoring all the noise. Like, you guys, until you've seen it, I don't want to hear anything out of anybody. But
hey,
even for those
he said
who
the
have
thing,
seen
Liz. He said the thing.
It's true. Get a life. Listen, even if you have seen it already and you don't care for it, don't be yucking other people's yum, man. You know what I mean? Like you're a very small percentile. Let the fans see for themselves and form their own opinions. I'm looking forward to it. I don't care. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, and hello and thank you to Just Some Geeky Guy for dropping in that positivity in the chat, man. It's the movie's here. It's basically here. We just haven't seen it yet. So, but most of us will by this time, or some of us will by this time tomorrow, and then the day after that. Bridget is going to be on the show on Wednesday to talk about her thoughts. She's going to see it tomorrow evening, same as us. But then, the rest of us are seeing it a bit early because we're on the East Coast, so she's a little bit later. And then, Fiona is going to be watching the movie and talking about it this week. But with that, guys, let's keep the ball rolling. John, you have another clip for us, or what's
we have that sound recording that you got of Lex Luthor. Do you want to play that now?
Let's do that. But before we do, so this is from the Daily Planet newsletter, and the caption for this was, "This just in. We've got our hands on this confidential conversation between billionaire Lex Luthor and government officials being candid about their feelings towards Superman. Sure, the focus is just on our alien friend today, but who's to say it won't be on another metahuman tomorrow? How do we know we won't be next?" Which kind of leans into a little bit of what James Gunn mentions in an article later in the show. But let's listen to this audio because it does kind of give you an idea that Lex Luthor is working with the government, and that's why Ultraman and the Engineer help arrest Superman. So it does kind of connect a few dots. But John, let's take a listen to this audio, shall we?
Particularly bad for business is dying. And I have a distinct feeling that's where we're all headed with the Kryptonian running wild.
So we're going to lock up all metahumans now.
The other metahumans aren't going off half-cocked interfering in foreign affairs. They don't have, and I have proof of this, a hidden headquarters in Antarctica that violates 12 international treaties, and they aren't aliens. Admittedly, I'm not comfortable. With a being from another planet as dangerous as him on the loose. I assure you, Secretary, we can contain him.
Yeah, they got this stuff. What's this kryptonite stuff called?
It's called kryptonite.
Well, it kills him, right?
You guys thoughts on that audio?
Shady business.
That's like it's like what the
Signal
reminds me. It reminds me of Richard Nixon's like the one time he turned off the tape recorder. During that, it's like that. If that like audio was like actually brought back, hey, what did he turn off? This is the vibe that kind of gives. I kind of like that. But yeah, just showing off Nicholas Hoult being the powerhouse madman he is, and I fucking can't wait.
Yeah.
Also, I thought it was 12 p.m.
So 12 a.m. tonight.
A.m.
The social media embargo. 12 p.m. tomorrow. Eastern time is the review embargo. Obviously, half the people don't care about it anyway because like they keep dropping it. I did see the Superman Spotify playlist that James can put together for like all the different characters. We won't be able to bring that into the show today, Caleb, but we do have that and it's loaded up for later in the week because I didn't think it was like such urgent news. And yes, Christian, all three of us, plus a couple other more people, are going to see Superman with the Amazon Prime premiere screenings tomorrow, and then we will talk about it. So we will be live with our reviews tomorrow, so be sure to tune in. We will keep them spoiler-free, so we will give you guys a review without any spoilers tomorrow, Wednesday, and then Friday, we will have a full spoilery discussion. Thursday, we will still be live. If you guys are new to the channel, we are live here Monday through Friday in the evening hours like we are now. And so we will review Superman on multiple days. We'll, each be different people on different days alongside the three of us talking about it. By Friday, we will have a full spoiler discussion. But until Friday, we're only going to keep it spoiler free. And if you guys want to avoid the spoilers on the Friday show, you can watch the rest of the show. When we get to the Superman part, just mute it or just come back and look at it after you've seen the movie, because I know a bunch of you guys might not get to see it until Saturday or Sunday, so we totally respect that, and we will have a spoiler warning up, so just keep an eye out for that. Dude, the F1 soundtrack I've been listening on repeat, Eugene. 100% agree with you. It's such a banger. So
remember kiddos, just remember this. If there are 1 million Hans Zimmer fans, Dan is one of them. If there is 1,000 Hans Zimmer fans, Dan is one of them. If there is 2 Hans Zimmer fans, Dan is one of those 2. If there is no Hans Zimmer fans, Dan is dead.
Thank you for the analogy, John. That is actually
You
true.
are the biggest. Not saying that's a bad thing, because Hans Zimmer, as we rated, he's an S tier composer. But I think it's safe to say you are the biggest Hans Zimmer stan I have ever seen. So I'm just saying, yeah.
Fiona is actually laughing in the chat and in my other ear right now. That's great. Thank you for that, John. All right, moving on to the next thing.
I think it's if Hans Zimmer. I think I fucked
No,
up
I
the
think
analogy, but it's fine. It's fine.
No, you got the point across. I think we got it. Sorry, Liz. John was making fun of my fandom of Hans Zimmer. That's all you missed.
It's okay.
Today just is a struggle for Liz. Unfortunately, the computer.
I'm on the struggle bus, gang. I don't even have the chat open. I'm doing everything I can to keep this feed going, and it's just not. It's not.
I was going to suggest, Liz, if you can, maybe try a different browser. Maybe it's the browser that's causing the problem. I don't know. But while we have you, we do have some more stills from the recent trailer. John, you want to just cycle through these? Because we've all seen.
Look at that baby kaiju. Look how fucking cute he is.
It ain't no baby no more. That is a big ass kaiju though. So.
So this was the thing we saw in the behind the scenes
in the set photos. Yeah.
Now my prediction was wrong. I said it would be another plane sequence or like the T-Craft. But it is not in that case. Right. But yes, where he's holding up there
that shot right there.
And the thing is, this confirms that this is not crypto. So we were initially right on that prediction. How we're this dog is crypto. Well, it turns out this specific dog that was here right now that he's saving is not crypto. So we were right. So haha.
Yep.
But we were wrong about crypto not being in the movie in general. So,
right, because at the time we didn't know. At the time we did not know. But yeah.
He uses his freeze breath. I do love that.
Yep. There we go. And then he uses that to kind of push the doggy away, because the doggy, of course, is doing his best protect and barking at the kaiju. But Superman's like, just scramble. Anyway, let's keep going, John. We have other stills and videos to get into. There's some behind the scenes stills that we got to dive into. These were posted from the set visit by Screen Rant. They're really, really cool, because again, James Gunn in the process of directing the Daily Planet set, it looks like it's going to play a big role in this movie. But if you skip across, we have a few other stills here, John. We have more of the superhuman prison. We see that white human. I'm starting to wonder if that is actually Ultraman without the costume on.
Oh, but look at his fingers. His fingers look weird. Like they're like kind of like Martian fingers.
The body shape and everything match. It could be a white Martian still, but I don't know, man. I don't know. By the way, Movie Spud doing the double trip. Oh my God, he's seeing it Thursday and Friday. Sunday with his mom. That's awesome, man. She asked the other day, do you want to see Superman next Sunday? And yeah, well, go see it with your mom, go see it with your dad, go see it with the whole gosh darn family. But John, let's keep on going with the next thing. More Daily Planet stuff. You can see everybody except Superman in this shot pretty much at the Daily Planet.
Also, I love it's fucking Eve Tessmacher's Instagram pictures.
Yeah.
And of course, Jimmy Olsen is the one looking this shit up. And then we have what looks like either Terrific and Lois getting into the metahuman prison, or like maybe the T-Craft crashed.
I think is the T-Craft crashing into the metahuman prison. The more that's what the pieces look like here. But yeah, let's keep going here. We got a few more. Or is that the last one from behind the scenes?
That is the last one.
All right, so let's kind of look back at all the London stuff. So, of course. But since the last time we were live, the last time we were live, they were in Paris, but they didn't do much in Paris. They did do a lot in London, as you can see here, and then they had a small presence in Paris. So let's kind of keep going here, John, through flipping through the different retrospectives of what they had. And Rachel Brosnahan posted another whole carousel of photos. Like I said, the dress she wore at the London red carpet was honestly probably the best dress she's had, or any look for any actor throughout this.
I love the sunglasses.
Again, you got to be a little goofy, which is what this movie is all about. And then they actually posted a video. We just watched that back. But yeah, anyway, more London stuff. And then after London, John, they actually have taken over New York, despite the fact that they haven't shown up in New York. The billboards are everywhere. So if you go to Times Square, you could see these billboards. John, the other day we just had photos of these. So we were speculating if they're digital or like print banners. It looks like a lot of these are just printed billboards. And then they do have a few digital ones. But Liz, I mean, have you been to New York and seen all this?
I have not seen this in person. I know Times Square has just gotten overrun, and it looks like they've fully taken over, which is amazing. It's not a small feat to do, and to kind of, you know, shut out everybody else. I mean, look, they have the entire city block wrapped. It's wild. I mean, they have been doing the damn thing with the marketing, and I'm so very impressed. If they don't put butts in seats this coming weekend, I mean, there's no hope for anybody, really. It's just unbelievable.
By the way, quick shout out to everybody in the chat, because not only is Movie Spud bringing his mama to see it, shout out to Mama Spud, but then also Enterprising might be going to see it with his father. That is amazing, man. Like, this is what this movie's all about. And yes, Manos time, we're going to get into Paris right up next. So we will talk about the fact that they kind of skimped out on Paris a little bit. But, you know, sorry, Manos.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on in Paris right now.
It's all good. It's all good. But Logan saying that he's gonna go see the film regardless of what the reviews are, seeing it for himself to decide. That's the kind of attitude you want to see. Because again, movies are very subjective. People all come away thinking differently about it. Oh no, is Johnny is saying his parents to see it and his little cousin to see it on Friday. That is one hell of a group you got there. So absolutely, this is gonna be a family movie, John. You know the cue. But yeah, we can't wait to see everybody's reactions soon. It's gonna be fantastic. I'm gonna drive through New York probably 3 times this week. But anyway, John, the Paris setup was not that impressive compared to what they did in London and stuff, because they had like a few things like look up Paris, or, you know, and James Gunn was there, Peter Safran was there, but there wasn't much else to go off of, right? That was it. Like, they didn't do a whole red carpet shit. I get it. They wanted to save probably the rest of the cast energy for the LA premiere, which is a big deal. That's the world premiere, which is just finished. Which actually I think is still going on, but like the public facing stuff that they posted online, the live stream ended. So yeah, we had some photos of Peter Safran there. I mean, Caleb was going to see the movie day one.
I will say they're both rocking the suits.
They are both
the suits
rocking
and
the
sunglasses.
Yeah.
So remember.
That's fair. Yeah. That's fair.
France is a danger zone? I don't know, but
oh my god.
Look up.
I'll take it.
Somebody will.
Anyway.
Sorry. That just got me for something. Let's keep going.
Get out of here.
Let's keep going. I don't know why that got that one. So thank you, Liz.
Look at this cuteness right here.
Dude, the Salazar doing it up big, by the way. Seeing it tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. What is that? That's
yes.
6. That's 5? At least 5 screenings. Holy shit. Now that's some Liz. That's some Liz kind of momentum right there.
It's gonna make a bill, you guys. It's gonna make a bill. Just from the super fans that are going to go multiple times, that already have their tickets for multiple screenings, it's going to make a bill. I'm not saying over the weekend. I'm saying worldwide, the total numbers, it's going to make a bill. People are pumped for this bad boy. It might surpass Jurassic's numbers in China. Listen, as much as the Asians like a dinosaur film, they really, really like a superhero film. Okay? So
yeah, especially if it's about family.
Where's the thing?
I don't have friends. I got family.
Sorry, new setup. It was hard to find out.
That's right, you still did it. Made us all happy.
By the way, we do have Yash in the chat who's saying they just came out of an IMAX screening. I will say, Yash, please keep your review spoiler free. If you use, I mean, you're saying this was your reaction. Don't give away all the spoilers.
Logan, just yet. I will add you to the list.
Yes.
Yeah, boy.
And by the way, I do love that we already have people going to see this thing. It's like, if you're, depending on what part of the world you're in, there's, God, that is amazing, man. I mean, hey, Yash seems like wasn't as big of a fan of the movie. But then again, yeah, everybody's gonna see it differently. So
Spell my name right,
um,
some guy, and you're on, babe. Yeah, listen, we all have tickets for IMAX because that's just the way that they package the early screening. But I am definitely going to go back and see
No,
it
no, no,
again
no,
in
no, no. It
Dolby.
can't be
I
20 bucks.
love
You
everything in
gotta,
Dolby.
if it makes $1 billion, you have to donate $1 billion. No, I'm just kidding. But $100 super chat. Make it. Come on. All go big or go home. Come on now. Let's go. Come on.
But anyway,
Don't be a
yeah,
pussy.
so we're all seeing it in IMAX, and I know James Gunn is really pushing to see it in IMAX, but I love a Dolby, so I'm gonna try and see it in Dolby as well, provided I like the film. But again, I
don't
don't
know what your
anticipate
opening
not
weekend
liking
prediction
it, so I
was,
can't
but
wait.
I know your full prediction was a Billy. You got a Billy down, Frankie. I didn't put down any opening weekend predictions. It was
Just overall box office, yeah. Worldwide.
Ooh. Anyway, so that Mr. Carter also giving us a little bit of a hey, he spells your name right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. I can't see you guys in the chat, so I do apologize that I can't interact as much as I normally do, but we're trying to keep this feed consistent here, so I'm doing the best I can. I'm sorry.
Anyway.
Are you updating the list?
So, yeah, I don't know if Night Stride is actually like posting
I timed
actual
out Night
spoilers,
Stride
but
because we're not gonna have spoilers. Again, we can't really trust that just yet because, but I did kind of time out. But John, let's keep the ball rolling here, shall we? I'll be back on camera in a moment.
Yep. But apparently,
this is for tonight's premiere that they just did in LA. This one. Now we're getting into the LA premiere.
They have a Superman Toyota. So just like Superman, a reliable type of thing going on. Very reliable. Love a good. Gotta love a good Toyota, right? So yeah, this is I would unironically drive this car.
It looks like a Matchbox car. It looks so goofy. But it's got the trunk, so you know what? Who am I to say anything? They did it right.
It has 2 trunks.
Oh boy.
So yeah, love to see it. You can even see right here a Superman like poster in the background right there.
Yep.
Love to see it. I think this.
I think that's Toyota's all electric, the BZ whatever. But yeah.
Yeah,
Very
the BZ, which is a fucking stupid name for a car, but that's beside the point.
Agreed.
It's like we went like some of the coolest car names to, I don't know, just stick 2 letters together. Sure.
Yep.
Yes, I know how fucking rich your dad is, okay?
Ooh, dang!
You can fucking print money.
All
right,
motherfucker. You're getting personal.
$100 or nothing.
Personal. I'm happy with the $20, just some geeky guy. I will take that.
That can get one whole Starbucks coffee.
Depending on what you order, yeah. For sure. Anyway.
So yeah, I thought this was fun. This is a fun little thing. Very cute, and of course, the real Soups, who we've been showing, like who's been like posting about it and all this stuff. Apparently he is going to be hosting the Superman premiere tonight, and this is kind of just him talking about it. I'm pretty sure he was at one of the world premiere live stream, so I'm pretty sure he was
he was the host of the LA premiere. He hosted
it.
Yeah.
So he was also at, wasn't he also in like Rio de Janeiro? Wasn't he also there, or am I thinking of somebody else? I think he was there.
He was in Brazil. Yes, he was a part of that.
Okay,
and then
so he was. That's who I thought, because I recognized the real Soups sweatshirt, and I remember him wearing that. But yeah, this is really awesome. Way to go, him. I think he's so yeah, love it, and look up, and the doggo, he makes an appearance again. Love it. Absolutely. For my doggo is still wearing her little bandana. Well, now it's in the hands of Facebook. Apparently Facebook got caught fucking stealing people's photos off of their camera rolls, so that's fine. But yeah, there she is. There's my doggo. Hey, we're still wearing her Superman bandana.
So cute. So cute.
She's like, bro,
Also,
why the
not a
fuck you taking a
surprise
picture
about
of me?
Facebook at all.
Oh my god, Facebook does something shady? That's crazy. Aaron Sorkin's like, all right, I got this shit handled.
Let's keep going.
But now we move on. Unfortunately, that is kind of the end of
For now.
For now. Obviously, we're gonna be getting into.
I did
DCU
get my nails
Daily.
done for Superman, you guys.
Yes.
Very important.
Also, they kind of remind me of Wonder Woman a little bit, though.
I know they're more Wonder Woman than Superman, but it's still DC.
But no,
so
it still works. I like the color scheme.
It still works. Yeah.
You know,
I wanted to do more blue than red, but my nail tech very smartly said the red wouldn't cover the blue. So here's what we're stuck with, but it's fine. It still works. It's on theme.
Hello, Hosea. And Man of Steel Magnolia saying your nails look great.
Thank you. Nails for Pedro. But
DC Studios is good at including the community. I like do you like Soups to see he's a mushroom. He's a pretty fun guy.
Oh boy.
You know. All right. We'll see you then. Thank you, the Watcher. And the Watcher
we'll be here. That's for sure.
All right.
I mean, that's what it was. Like, there's so many people that are like, I'm gonna be watching this movie because of the fucking dog. And you know what? Hell yeah.
Thank you.
And you know what? By the way, thank you for all the compliments on Lizz's nails. Thank you, Salazar. I didn't want to jump over that, but I'm just gonna say, Yash, I really appreciate your insights, but we don't want to get into this too much just yet. I mean, look, a lot of people haven't seen the movie yet, so please stay away from the specifics if you can. I know you're not trying to give away the spoilers, but we still want to, like Figueroa is saying, let's not get into the details.
Thank you,
yeah,
I'm genuinely trying to avoid all reviews right now. Like, I myself have an embargo. Like, Dan keeps sending me links, and I'm like, no, I'm not reading any of this. I'm seeing it tomorrow. I have less than 24 hours to.
It's like we're not trying to like. I know, like Five Ash is like, oh, you're silencing me. It's like, no, we just want to like have like a clear head, but like. That's cool. I want to know your thoughts just when the time is appropriate. So we're going to be on tomorrow talking no spoilers, and then on Friday we're going to be talking spoilers. So just keep that in mind. If you want to talk spoilers, if you want to talk the movie, Tuesday and Friday is when we are doing that. So just please keep that in mind. So thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly. But let's we get you to think I think the movie is mid and had color. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So look, everybody's gonna take this movie and have their own opinions on it. We don't really want to get into it just yet because even the social media embargo hasn't dropped. So I think, like Yash, this technically goes against that. Like, so I would say please try to stay away from those. Like, you don't want to, I mean, obviously, if you went and saw a screening that's a public screening, that's not really part of the embargo. But yeah. Night Stride is back. Okay, look, Night Stride, here's the thing. I'm going to put you in another timeout, but please, guys, let's not. And if you break that rule again, that you're trying to reveal stuff whether it's really true or not, yeah, we're going to have to ban you guys from the chat. It's just we're trying to be nice and we're giving you guys a warning. So please do not spoil the movie for everybody here. We want to be respectful of everybody here. Like exactly what Caleb was saying. Like stop spoiling the movie for everybody else. But PLO is here in the chat, but he was kind of messing around saying he just saw it. No, he didn't, because I don't think PLO is where you are. The movie has come out yet, but nonetheless, hello and welcome to the chat. While Liz is getting back into the show, we are going to move on and talk a little bit about the box office from this past weekend, John. So let's get to that next, shall we? Before we continue on the Superman conversation, which we still have lots more to talk about. The thing that I want to get into for the time being is this weekend, Jurassic World Rebirth came out. a lot of us still concerned that Jurassic World might dig into the box office for Superman. Now, the thing is, if you go off of the numbers, like the numbers are impressive because they released the movie on essentially Wednesday because it was a holiday weekend. So they wanted to get ahead of the Friday rush. And they were like, more people will be off earlier in the week. So yeah, we had 5 days to see Jurassic World make $323 million. The number yesterday on Sunday was the higher of mark was 315, went up to 318, but when the final tally came in, 323. John, if you want to flip to the next article, we can get into a little more detail here, because we also, domestically, had 147 million plus. So overall, that's the 5-day number. The 3-day number is a bit lower, and I'll get into that a little bit later because we will talk about how it compares to the other Jurassic World movies. So let's keep the ball rolling here, John. Let's look at the next article real quick. The headlines are all over the place. I mean, look, the headline here, what's impressive is while Jurassic World was doing these huge numbers, which is the biggest studio opening for Universal to date, F1 has gone close to 300 million. It's the highest grossing Apple movie. How to Train Your Dragon has now crossed 500 million, which is fantastic. And if you keep on going here, John, with the articles, we have a number of other things, because Jurassic World also topped the Chinese box office. And if you scroll down here, we can take a look at the numbers. It's not easy to top the Chinese box office because there's a lot of local competitions. Right at the very top,
obviously,
you see 25.7 million. That's nothing to scoff at. That means this movie is going to play well in China, much like Mission Impossible did. And we know Superman is coming out in China as well. So not that long after this movie comes out, in fact, Superman's last stop on their world tour is Beijing. We saw last week on Friday, they're already setting up the red carpet stuff. Like all the signs are already out there. So, Jurassic World won't have a ton of time to make this money, but starting off really, really well. So, all right, now let's keep going here to the next thing, because F1 doing fantastic over there as well. So you could tell China loves their big movies. F1, Jerry Bruckheimer knows what he's doing. Jerry Bruckheimer's record in China is great. So let's keep the ball rolling. And Liz is back in the chat. Liz, we're talking about Jurassic World and how much it did at the box office this weekend. Domestically, $147.3 million. It's at the top of the chart on the TV side. Squid Games is still at the very top. And then if you look at the rest of this on the streaming side of things, The Accountant 2 is dominating on the TV side.
And
of
the first
Ginny
account,
Georgia,
and both Now You See Me's. Interesting.
There's a prequel coming this year, so that's interesting. Very interesting. But let's keep going here, John, because we do have some more stuff to talk about, especially with Jurassic World. Because when you look at the overall franchise, Jurassic World, if you scroll down, John, and look at the tiers that we have there, and I wanted to point out, if you zoom in a little bit, Jurassic World Rebirth, while again $300+ million opening worldwide, including 147 domestically, but remember I said it's a 5-day opening weekend? Well, really, and the past movies didn't all come out on 4th of July weekend. So really the Friday to Sunday number is the most important thing. And when you compare that to apples, essentially what you're looking at is 92 million. 92 million, which is lower than when you look at those previous Jurassic World movies. It's the lowest of the Jurassic World era of movies. Are you surprised? I mean, Liz, you're going to see this tomorrow, but are you surprised as somebody who's got a ticket for this movie that Jurassic World Rebirth is launching to the lowest opening weekend, the 3-day opening weekend of the franchise since they did like the requel reboot, sort of like soft reboot with Jurassic World past the original 3 movies?
I am, just because I know, again, personally, I know people that are pumped for these films, that are diehard fans. They've already seen it. They took the whole family over the weekend. I know a lot of people that have seen it and enjoyed it. But I also think people did really enjoy the Chris Pratt iterations of it and would prefer, if they were going to keep it going, that he was still a part of it. He does put butts in seats. But we also just had an article come out recently that Scarlett Johansson is the highest grossing actress in the entire world. So
and
it's surprising. What?
And we were gonna talk about.
No, I know, but I'm just saying it is a little surprising to me, especially like Dan was saying. I mean, I know we're breaking it down over 3 days, but it was a 5-day weekend situation. I am a little surprised. It's kind of disappointing. I feel like they did a pretty decent job with advertising, with marketing. You see it, the trailers before other films in the theater all the time too. Again, Jurassic World, these films have a following just like Fast and the Furious. I mean, they're always going to put butts in seats. So to see it so low, I don't know, maybe just a lot of people were traveling over the holiday weekend. They'd rather be outside in the nice weather. I'm not sure. But I know that number is going to go up the longer that it's in theaters. So we still have a couple of.
Oh, Liz has disappeared again. It's
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, people love dinosaurs. China loves dinosaurs. We love dinosaurs. Who doesn't love dinosaurs? You know.
Yeah, I mean, but PLO isn't surprised that the number is bad because I've been coming off of the really, disappointing take. Sorry, Liz. I know it's. I don't know what's going on.
It's solar flares.
It certainly seems like that's what is causing the issue, but we'll hopefully
Maybe Superman's getting charged up for tomorrow.
So I am curious, Liz. So like, do you just get like kicked out, or do you like does the window close?
Literally, just it does one of those like, hey, you should refresh your page. Like it just.
That's weird.
Just totally shuts off, and I've not had this before, so I don't know. I don't know how to get out of it. I don't know what to do. I have no other pages open. My Wi-Fi is all. I've got all the bars.
Liz is seeing it tomorrow. I don't plan on
seeing it tomorrow. John could give 2.
I don't care because all my friends said it was bad, so I'm not gonna. Although my sister
probably
saw it
is bad. It probably
my
is.
sister saw it today. I didn't ask her how it was, but both she and her friend like went to go see it, and they both dressed up as Laura Dern's character from the original without collaborating on it. They got to the theater and they were like, "Oh my God!" They did the Spider-Man thing, like, "Oh."
But Steven asked a question. Do you think Superman will overtake Jurassic World in the box office? I think if the projections we're gonna get into later in the show for Superman do come true, then it will beat out Jurassic World's 5-day opening weekend in just 3 days. Just sit on that for a little bit. But John, let's keep going to the Scarlett Johansson part of the story, because the fact that this movie's already kicked off to the $300+ million opening now means that ScarJo is the highest grossing actor of all time at the worldwide box office. Now, this list that they're basing this off of does not include cameos, so it only includes featured roles, which, I mean, fair enough. Otherwise Stan Lee would be the highest grossing actor of all time, given the 36 cameos he's done. So this is the top of the list, John. This is from the numbers.com, where
the fucking
this was
photos
look
terrible. That's not on my end. I'm just saying.
I mean,
like,
they're no IMDb, but like you look at these numbers. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson was at the top of the list until ScarJo just took over. RDJ is third on the list.
All 3 are Marvel actors, to the
all
shock
3 are
of
Marvel.
no one.
But then, if you scroll down a little bit more and you look at the actual numbers, I think this list is going to change very quickly.
Tom Cruise okay, so Tom Cruise out of the top 10, Tom Cruise is the only one that's not a Fast and Furious star or a Marvel star. Like, Jesus.
Vin Diesel's both.
Oh my God.
So.
Yeah, he's fucking both. And God damn it.
I knew you forgot.
He's motherfucking Groot. How could I forget?
We're gonna get into that later, Akash. But you know what? I'm gonna.
But hey, Dwayne Johnson is a DC star, so
he was. He was.
There you go. There you are. There's your little one. There, look, you got one.
But what I was gonna say before we move past this list, you see a bunch of names on there, including especially Zoe Saldana. By the end of this year, is probably gonna get to the top of the list because Avatar, and then Samuel L. Jackson. I don't know if he's showing up in the Avengers movies, but RDJ definitely is showing up in the next Avengers movie. So by this time next December, I'm sure RDJ is going to be back at the top of the list. And I'm sure Bradley Cooper is going to add to his credits because he is in the Superman movie.
Look at all those Marvel stars, you guys. Just look at them.
It's like the only ones that aren't are Tom Cruise, Dwayne Johnson, but he's in, Fast and Furious. Tom Hanks, Johnny Depp, Emma Watson, Will Smith, and then you kind of get into more and more. But like Harrison Ford, all that shit. But like, goddamn. Okay,
I've met 5 of them.
That's not funny. Okay. But yeah, I just think. I mean, wait, who have you met on the list?
I've met Benedict and Elizabeth and Josh and Karen and Chris Evans.
Yeah, you gotta be more specific because there's multiple.
I know, because all the
there's three Chris's on this list.
Chris Evans, the best Chris. Everyone knows the best Chris. Yeah.
No. But like yeah, well, technically 30 minutes.
Yeah, depending on where you are.
I think it is.
We'll probably still be live. We'll still be live when that happens. Let's keep the ball rolling here, John.
No, I agree with him. Not my. I mean, he's not the worst Chris, but he's not the best Chris. We know that the real best Chris is Chris Pine. The best Chris is Chris Pine.
He's my second favorite.
Is Chris Hemsworth.
Listen, when I meet Chris Pine, I'll move him to the top of the list. But as of right now, Chris Evans is the top.
Okay.
We all know who the worst
Chris
is, so it's fine.
Look at all this money that could help the world.
I mean, look, if there is that whole argument. Don't. Look, there is that whole argument the star power isn't a thing anymore. I think star power still matters. Probably not as much as it used to, but it still matters. So let's keep going here, shall we, John? Do we have anything else to talk about on that subject?
No, we don't.
Great.
We gotta get into those quick hits.
We're gonna get into the quick hits. Let's do that, shall we, John? I'm gonna find the music.
Stupid screen holds up.
But you can still hear the music, and I still gotta fucking get shit ready. So
all right, John. While John is preparing the quick hits, Lizz. Okay, Lizz, we will hopefully have you around for when the reviews, the social media embargo drops. I'm gonna keep an eye out. We're gonna see if we can get our hands on a few social media embargoed reactions that we'll be releasing in 30 minutes time on the show. But yeah, and Angelica, you're right. RDJ will take over at the top of that list when Doomsday comes out easly, probably, and we'll be far and away. I mean,
but also a lot of the people in that list are going to be in that film, so
that's true. Zoe's is Gamora coming back?
I know things are going to shift.
I guess we'll find out. We will find out. All right. The Watcher says, "Guess who just saw the movie?" Oh.
That's why they said they were going to check in with us in 15 minutes. Good for you.
All right, Watcher, looks like you just saw Superman. Don't give us spoilers. Please do not give us spoilers.
Or else you're going to get permabanned. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, John, let's get the quick hit started. I'll be right back. I got a corgi clawing at the door.
You got a super dog that needs your attention.
Yeah, I'll be right back, guys. But John, get us going on the quick hit, shall we?
Hold on, I gotta mute all my Facebook chats so you guys don't see my private messages on screen when I go to Facebook.
Oh,
so
why not?
Let me
just share with the rest of us.
Well, I don't want to dox them, so I've already accidentally doxed myself. So here we are. Anyway, so let's get into quick hits, guys. The first quick hit is your wicked director is apparently working on a Hot Wheels movie. Okay.
Yep.
Thoughts?
I was like, oh, Fast and the Furious meets Cars? Okay. Meets Pixar's Cars? I was like, all right. That's all I can
And it's
imagine.
bad robots, so it'll probably suck, but
But that's what I'm saying. That's all I can imagine coming from this film.
Okay.
It's like cool. Pixar's Cars, but with an edge.
So Cars 3?
Cars for teenagers? I don't know.
Anyway, let's move on. But apparently your boy, Discount Tom Hardy gets replaced with another Discount Tom Hardy. Cosmo Jarvis, he pulls out of the Odyssey.
I don't,
unfortunately,
because of that's an insult to Tom Hardy. I don't know how you can do your boy like that, but all right.
But that is not my joke. That is my friend's joke, but I thought it was so funny I had to use it. So he pulled out due to scheduling conflicts with something else, and he got replaced with the Shocker that got murdered on screen in Spider-Man Homecoming, and your upgrade boy, Logan Marshall Green, who I think is another really good actor. But shame that Cosmo Jarvis could not enjoy the Nolan.
He's busy, man.
He's a busy boy
right now. He's busy.
He's probably busy with Shogun Season 2, if I were to take a guess.
Makes sense.
But it's like, guys,
I mean, I'm surprised though that anybody would walk away from.
To work with Sir Christopher Nolan? Make that
Nolan movie.
He'll have
Damn.
chances. He'll have chances. He's just starting off his career.
Yeah,
His
and that's what they said about Heath
just
Ledger. And look
launched.
how that turned out. So, like,
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But, yeah, shame. But, like, you know, hopefully Logan Marshall Green can give us something great. And Cosmo Jarvis can give us something great in Shogun Season 2, which I have not, which I will see, hopefully, after I got to catch, again, for $1 a day, you know, like, I got to catch up.
For $1 a day, you can help Liz and John.
I'm going to be watching the For All Mankind episodes tomorrow before I go to Superman. So
I haven't even started it. It's on the list.
Anyway, next up, this wonderful little tidbit. Apparently, Sinners bought a warehouse full of costumes from Marvel Studios, once meant for a period Blade movie. Apparently, all the extras costumes that were in Sinners were going to be in that Blade movie set in the 1920s until Marvel just was like, we don't like making money, so here you go, Ryan Coogler, and look what made money. Sinners did. So, thoughts?
That's awesome. It's an awesome, awesome tale. I love it.
Also, fun fact, the guy who posted the first fuck up of the Superman embargo, the guy who posted it said that Superman is like the worst thing ever. Also said Sinners is a bloated mess. So I'll leave that with that information as you will. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, all right.
Anyway, so Netflix is shark attacking Discovery and Nat Geo this summer. Apparently, the Apex Predator of streaming aims to send cable's traditional shark content swimming with the fishes. Thoughts?
I don't know what any of this means, so...
I guess Netflix is doing their own Shark Week or something.
Okay.
Do you like Shark Week?
No, I could give a damn about Shark Week. I
Same.
respect the
Moving
sharks. I respect where their homes are. I respect weeks. Don't give a damn about Shark Week.
Anyway, so apparently they're still perpetuating this rumor that Palm Clementif is going to apparently attach to play Huntress in a Korean set show based around Huntress in the DCU. Thoughts? Again, this is only a rumor, so
I hope she gets it. Good for you, Palm. Met her. She's a lovely lady. I hope she gets that bag.
I'm sure.
Go ahead.
I would prefer more accurate, but that's okay. She's great, so hopefully she can make it work. Moving on.
Very similar.
So, Fantastic Four, First Steps. Paul Walter Hauser's villain role in First Steps has finally been officially revealed, and it's the thing that literally everyone guessed when he got cast. It's Mole Man. Yeah, could have fucking told you that immediately. Here we are. It wasn't exactly going to be, you know, Human Torch, because God forbid if a fat guy plays a normal role in a mainstream movie.
I'm saying.
Just unless you're Jack Black, but like Jack Black can get away with anything. Anyway, so thoughts on that?
I've met Paul Walter Hauser. I'm very excited. I love him.
Yay! Look at this doggo.
Oh my god, I love it. Stop.
Look at this
That's
doggo.
the fastest dog in the world. It's the fastest dog in the world.
Well, next to Crypto, of course.
I don't know. Crypto doesn't look that speedy next to this dog. Look at that dog. Look at that dog.
Look at this dog.
Can I pet that dog? So cute.
And also,
you brought that dog, man.
Thank God in heaven. Goodbye to the most villainous character ever.
Shut up! I love the boys. You shut up.
That is extremely debatable. Most villainous character. Yeah, okay. Have you heard of Hitler? Anyway, Anthony Starr has officially wrapped as Homelander on the final season of The Boys. It's going to be a very bittersweet goodbye. No, it's going to be very sweet. Very sweet. Unfortunately, there's 16 spinoffs of the show, so this piece of fucking shit franchise isn't going to die a painful death that I hope. Terrible. But here we are.
By the way, I did want to mention, it seems like John Malkovich might be back in the movie with the latest cut, because they did include him in some more recent synopses. Just letting you know, Caleb. Let's keep going.
Yes. Apparently, they released a new clip of 7 p.m. Sunday dinner, with them announcing that
this is the
she's
longest
pregnant.
dinner that's ever taken place.
Okay. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I will say, jokes aside, this was a good clip. I'm like, okay. I wouldn't say you're cooking, but like, I would say it's like a light simmer. I will give you that. This, I'm like, all right, okay. I'm just gonna say Joseph Quinn, and like I will say the one thing I really liked about the script and this scene is just a quick thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a guy for practical effects, and I like through the CGI of Ben Grimm that you like have like certain mannerisms and body language that they really got with that.
He was very
so,
expressive in this scene, which I'm buying the CGI of this now, because the thing is, like, he's the one who's like, "Are you pregnant?" And I'm like the cues are all there. It feels very
and
natural.
It also goes to show what I like what they're doing with Ben Grimm, because Ben Grimm is a lot of people, he's the Thing, he's the rock monster guy. A lot of people forget he's Jack Kirby's, like self-insert essentially. And like pretty much the open secret that he is. So a lot of people forget, like, oh, he's just the big strong guy, when it's like he's more than, and a lot of people think he's like, oh, the stupid guy, because he's not like a scientist like Reed or all these other people, but he's the thing that was great about Ben Grimm and why he's like an important part of the family is like the emotional part, and he's still intelligent, more street smart, but he's still smart in his own ways, and I really liked how they portrayed that in this scene. So I'm sorry that the bear sucks, but like, hey, at least you got Fantastic Four.
God, I can't with you.
So, Ryan in the chat.
Hello, Glimmercast. Hello. But yes, I thought this was a very good scene and very good. Yes, loving it. Thoughts? I was the only one talking. I apologize, but everyone else
I loved it. I mean, Liz, what do you think?
Yep.
Keep going. Let's keep going. These are the quick hits. We gotta roll it.
Making time for family.
What's real is family.
I'm surprised he hasn't come out and said anything about them using the family angle, but he really can't, because he's also a Marvel guy, so he's gonna let him do what they're gonna do.
Looking good, very photoshopped, but yeah, looking good. But
by the way,
fucking hairline, bro, like goddamn,
so photoshopped.
I did want to answer the question from Swag Fan. The last season of The Boys is they just wrapped filming the last season of The Boys. So yes, the next one is the last. But John said, there's spinoffs, so the franchise is not going anywhere.
There's I think there's another one in the works. Yeah, no shit. That's why we're avoiding it, Caleb. Anyway, so as Dan mentioned already by spoiling it, John Malkovich has got re-added to the cast, and apparently there is a tour of the Baxter Building, very again that 60s kind of style, and it's looking fucking cool.
You can go on Zillow Gone Wild, and I'm sure this will be on there too on the Instagram account. Their listing is fantastic. Pardon the pun.
And it also has the description right here.
Which
cute.
So if you scroll down that video, that's it right there.
Yeah, I don't want to play the whole thing because again,
I know. No, just Dan couldn't find it before in the article. There it is.
Sorry, I did kind of.
He's a busy boy.
It's right there. Yeah, it's right there. They have a whole tour of the Baxter Building. But anyway, let's keep going. Me? What did I do? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Caleb.
And apparently the Rotten Tomatoes score for recent MCU movies, I'm still surprised that Deadpool and Wolverine, it's probably the critics score, that's probably why. But Deadpool and Wolverine is sitting at 78. Captain America 4, Not My Captain America, is sitting at 48. And Thunderbolt / New Avengers is 88. Lots of 8s. Where do you think it'll land? Do you think it'll be 68? 58?
Yeah, I mean, Liz, what do you think the Rotten Tomatoes rating for Fantastic Four will be?
Well, considering some people are dragging Superman, I feel like nobody's going to give this a chance either, because we've all been burnt in the past when it comes to Fantastic Four. I think people are going to go in with a cynical attitude and just shred it. So I will say probably in the 70s as well, like Deadpool and Wolverine. I still think it'll be received better than Captain America.
Is critics score.
But as we know, but again, Captain America was not marketed worth a damn, and no one cared about it when it came out. So I still think with critics, I think it'll be in the 70s, maybe not as high as Thunderbolts, but we'll see. They could surprise us.
I mean, I hope it's 100. That's what I always hope for all these movies. I hope it's 100. But I think this was, I think it'll be for critics. I think it'll be in the 80s, and for audiences, I think it'll be in the 70s because I feel like, fans can be a little bit crazy sometimes. I'm not saying, again, I don't believe in the whole fucking toxic fandom horse shit like that. I'm not like that, but I'm just saying sometimes they can get a little bit uppity in regards to certain things. So I think the critic score will be better, but yeah, that's just me.
I personally think the score could, depending on how good, obviously it depends on how good it is. My prediction would be probably low 80s. It probably will be higher than the previous few movies have been, but we'll see. All right, Bass Reeves is in the chat as well. Hello, Bass Reeves. Look, don't go off of anybody else's review. Go see the movie for yourself and see how Superman is and make that judgment for yourself. But all right, Dakota Johnson wants to direct her first feature and wants to avoid toxic sets and play a psychopath. Now, I think the script she wants to work off of is from one of the, she was an actress in one of her previous movies. John, if you want to scroll down here, that part of the story is kind of cool because the actress who she wants to, she worked with on Cha-Cha Real Smooth, and she wants to work on a script from her. She's on the spectrum, this actress who wrote the script. So, look, that will be great if that script ended up being a big movie that somebody like Dakota Johnson's working on, who obviously has star power. But as far as the quality that is to be expected, maybe Dakota Johnson is a better director or will be a better director than an actor, because after seeing, what was the movie that she just came out with? I totally forgot the name. The one with Chris Evans and
Materialist.
Materialist. I gotta say, I thought Madam Web was bad because of script, which it was, but I certainly don't think Dakota Johnson helped the case of that movie. And if you scroll back up, John, it doesn't look like, if she does direct the movie, maybe she should hire somebody else to play the lead, because I don't know how good of an actress she is herself. Liz, would you want to see Dakota Johnson directing a movie? Do you think that's better for her?
I'd like to give her a chance and see how she goes. I'm not opposed to that at all. I do agree with you. I don't think that she's a bad actress. I think, unfortunately, like a lot of actors, even the great Tom Hanks, they kind of tend to just play the same character over and over again, just in different circumstances and situations. So I think it'd be interesting to see how she directs. Just like, Michael B. Jordan has stuff coming up. There's a lot of people are taking their chances and trying to get in the director's chair.
Yeah, by the way, she's talking about directing a movie, not writing, Caleb, but we'll see. Let's keep going, John. Is that it for the quick hits, or we got I think
we still got a couple more.
We got a couple of more. All right, so this was a funny clip, John. I don't know if you can take that full screen. This was hilarious because this was at the London event for the World Tour, and Richard Brosnan I don't know what question she was answering, but she was like, we made out for about 4 hours, and then went and shot 4 hours and then shot the rest of that scene, whatever romantic scene that we have in the movie, which the watcher seems like got to see it, but we'll talk about that later. James Gunn then clarified, on screen, yes, they made out on screen, not behind screens, which
they're both happily married.
Thank you for the clarification. I think Frankie G was referring to this earlier. People definitely getting divorced. I hope not, because I know they're both happily married. David Cornswood recently had a kid, so there you go. But hey, let's keep going here. The chat today is getting wild. It's only a preview for, I'm sure, what's to come tomorrow. So until then, though, John, this is one that you and Liz wanted to bring in, so I'll let you guys take over on this. This was from the concert. I think it was Ozzy Osbourne's last concert.
Yes.
With Black Sabbath.
Yep, allegedly his last. I hope it's his last because he went out like a king. He's no longer the Prince of Darkness. He's the King of Darkness.
No, it's definitely his last.
So I think that this was. I watched the whole thing with my friends. It was like 10 hours. I watched like 5 hours one day and then 5 hours the other day. It was great. But right when Pantera was coming on, Jason Momoa was like, I'm moshing. I don't give a fuck. And he fucking went into the mosh pit. He was moshing, and it was great. And just like, could you like imagine being in that mosh pit and then like fucking Aquaman coming at you? Like, that's honestly just great.
And the fact that everybody was all for it, they couldn't wait to get him over there. It's just awesome.
You couldn't pick a better host for this. Like Jason Momoa, he looks like a metal fan. He acts like a metal fan. He is a metal fan. So it's just like, it works perfectly. All the bands except Guns N' Roses did a magnificent job. It's just like, the guys, next time pick a better sound design, sound mixer, whatever. That sound, guys. Come on, it's
again. I think the venue played a big part in that too. So it's just. So
I'm just
sometimes
saying,
it works, sometimes it doesn't.
You know, like I keep saying that, but like the sound, guys, come on, the sound. But like, just straight up, the sound started cutting in and out during, I think it was Alice in Chains' performance, where it was like we just like couldn't like hear it. Like it like he was like singing into the mic, and we like the people, well, at least the people watching the live stream could not hear it. So it's like some things were ruined. Like, it was great, it was awesome to experience this, but it's just like half the time it was like cutting out or really quiet. It's just like this was like integral. It was important for a lot of people, and like some of us just couldn't hear it that well. But outside of that, it was great.
It's just like Netflix when they were trying to go live, you know, shit happens.
Oops. Or like the time Hulu cut off the last 5 minutes of the Oscars. That was fun. But yeah.
Hooray.
That's it, guys.
I've also met Jason Momoa. Yay!
That's it, guys. No more quick hits. I'm sorry. But I just wanted to talk about that because, you know, Jason Momoa is awesome, and that concert was awesome, and yeah.
Yeah, Liz has been fighting through a lot today on the stream. If you drop off again, Liz, we'll just see you on tomorrow's show.
Yeah.
But we'll definitely. I mean, thank you for obviously, you know, fighting the good fight. Hopefully, you won't have
fight
the same
for
issues
justice,
tomorrow.
as Ron would say.
Fight for justice, indeed. Well, guys, let us know in the comments down below what you think about all of those news topics from the million different things that we already got into, including Superman, because we still have a lot more to dive into because we have only basically gotten to halfway through the show. And I've been on Twitter, and apparently they've released the soundtrack for the movie, and track number 7 is blowing up. So we will talk about that in a second for a very specific reason why track number 7 might be blowing up. But before we do, let's hit that almost brand spanking new DCU Daily intro, and that will give John a little bit of time to prepare all the millions of things we got to talk about, and we'll be right back on the other side with a fantastic episode, a packed episode of DCU Daily.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That
okay, we don't need to see
right there.
Hey, buddy, eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts. Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in the stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka!
All right, welcome on into another episode of DCU Daily. We've already talked some Superman on the show, but now we're getting into DCU Daily proper, so you can bet your butt that we're going to talk more Superman, including, I mean, the social media reactions embargo drops in minutes from now, so we'll be talking about those. We've already got a bunch of other stuff to get into. We'll probably save, you know, a longer conversation about the reviews and stuff till tomorrow's show, because that embargo drops at at noon Eastern. And if you guys are watching, like Glimmercast is telling you to do, whether you're watching live or after the fact, hit that like button. Liz, what are you most excited to discuss on today's DC Deal, as long as your connection stays intact?
You guys, for real. Shoulders and vulnerability. We all have things to work on. Start there.
John, what about you?
I'm excited to talk. Like, don't get me wrong. I haven't watched the show since season 2 because it just went downhill so fucking fast. But the Rick and Morty clip with the Zack Snyder James Gunn, that honestly, that's probably the funniest joke that fucking show has produced in like fucking 5 years. So like, you know what?
Yep. Okay.
Ah, damn. That's a shame. What? I wish. I would.
There, by the way, Eugene was telling us there are 2 post-credit scenes. We know this. We actually saw this come out like a week or 2 ago. So this isn't necessarily new information, but thank you, Eugene, for bringing it up. We weren't going to mention it today's show, but there you go. Enterprising is taking deep breaths. Take deep breaths. We've got some good stuff coming up.
5-ash and Yash can't hurt you now.
Yeah, we took care of that.
I wish I could have seen the fireworks, man. I'm bummed that.
Well, you can see these fireworks.
Hey! I think it's a drone. Are they drones? They look like drones. I think they're drones.
Shut up.
Bass Reeves is seeing the movie tomorrow in 3D IMAX and again on Thursday. Nice.
Cool, man. Cool.
Super low. Hey, keep your expectations low because then the movie can't disappoint. That's good. But this is Superman's hometown. I mean, James Gunn's hometown, I should say. I think one of you guys mentioned this in the comments the other day, so I feel like I had to bring this in. Look up Superman. Look up St. Louis. So yeah.
Andy Samberg.
Oh my god. So
that's the man who killed my brother. Oh, forgot about that.
Forgot about that part. Why did you say that name? Okay. Oh, Antonio's in the chat. Hi guys. Hello, Antonio. Just in time. Dude, the review embargo is about to drop, Antonio. It's gonna be wild. I'm
honestly, that would be really funny. So, obviously, this is incredibly fake, but like that would be really funny.
It's a great troll. Love it. Love the trolling. Thank you, Jalen. That's not what I'm seeing right now on social media. But anyway, John, let's keep going, shall we? Got more to get into. Let's see if we can get Liz to the GQ article that she's so excited to talk about.
There it is.
Yes, this is so funny.
Like, it's just like, I just love it. Just like, yes, one tub of protein powder. But yeah, this was absolutely hilarious. I don't care what anybody says. Let's not get demonetized. So, I just, and they were actually voicing that. It wasn't like, oh yeah, no, it was actually them it's just great. Just brilliant. I love it. Like, stupid show, don't get me wrong, dumb show, but he's not the Man of Steel, not the man of conversation. Do more shots of him punching. And then, like, when he's about to punch, just, like, slow it down. Just absolutely ridiculous. Love it. Anyway.
Let's keep going. Yep. No, I love this. I actually saw the clip.
Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
Hilarious. Love it.
Just tons of fun. They were good sports, obviously, and, brilliant. But apparently, the Sandman, the Corinthian returns. Do you guys care about the Sandman?
I didn't get a chance to see the teaser. Liz, did you see this teaser, the Volume 2 teaser?
No, because I haven't seen the first season, so I'm not even bothering. It's on the list. Again, guys, for only $1 a day.
Yeah. By the way, Stephen, what I see when I look up is a ceiling. But for John, maybe for me, it's just a ceiling. But look, the Sandman 2, they've explained why they're ending it after season 2 because they just don't have much more story to tell. They've went through all the stories already, and
Neil Gaiman's a piece of shit.
Neil Gaiman, yeah,
like that part of it too. But yes, Stephen, we know Zack Snyder and James Gunn are best friends, or not maybe best friends, but they're friends. They've known each other for a long time. But hey, let's keep going here because Sandman will do its thing when it comes out. I think people have already moved on for the most part. John, there's not much else to be said here. Let's get back to talking about the Batman. The Batman Part 2, Matt Reeves and Andy Muschietti were both at the LA premiere of Superman, but apparently here, as the Batman Saga News pointed out on X, Isa Gonzalez liked the post of the Batman 2 script on Instagram, and Matt Reeves followed her a few days ago, and he supposedly follows actors involved in the Batman, allegedly. Could she have a role in the Batman 2? Guys, is this just social media snooping, or is there any truth to this matter? I don't know. What do you think, Liz?
I mean, people have fan casted her
Why
for a
not,
lot of shit.
dude?
Honestly, she
Yeah.
would have been a better Catwoman than Zoe Kravitz, but that's just
Agreed.
me.
Agreed.
But whatever her role is, if it is true, I mean, yeah, but they're not bringing Talia in the Batman, the Bex universe. So yeah, I think I don't know what, like, if this is true and she's in the movie, I don't know what her role would be. I just know she's a really good actress. I was so impressed with her performance in Ash. That really showed how good of an actress she could be. So I'm stoked for this, and I think that's the last we will see of Liz tonight, unfortunately. But
good night, Liz. We'll see you in tomorrow night, I guess. Let's keep going, shall we, John?
Right at midnight too.
Right at midnight, but I am trying to. I've started to. So the embargo has dropped, so I'm starting to pull the reactions in, and I will find the good ones. I mean, some people are still trolling, so we won't. And I'll see if there's somebody who's collecting it. All right, collecting all the reactions. That is. Let's keep going, John. Let's try to get to more of the Superman stuff. So, but before we do, Adria Arjona from the Andor show and many other things, currently dating Jason Momoa, of course, now Lobo, formerly Aquaman. There was this fan art that was posted online. There's actually a couple of different images, and John, I don't know if she can put on that kind of muscle, but I mean, the visuals
those are
are
like
not
Chun-Li thighs. I don't know if she could go that far, but like.
What do you think about Adria Arjona as potentially a Wonder Woman? James Gunn thinks she would be great. Obviously, speculative because they haven't even gone to the part about casting a Wonder Woman. So, what do you think?
Press X to doubt the Watcher. But
well, the Watcher was at the premiere today. We do have his thoughts. We'll bring him later.
But yeah, I think this. I mean, I'd love to see her. I think she's a great actress. Has the look, acting ability, charisma, vibes, and she's just hit the ground running. In terms of all the stuff she's been in. So now that Andor is done, she doesn't have anything else on her plate, I don't think, in terms of like big franchises. So like Gunn, give her a call. Although I would like to see Kate O'Brien or even Jessica Green as Wonder Woman. I think that they'd all do a great job. But yeah.
All right. Yeah, I mean, to me, again, it's that whole thing of they don't have a script yet, so they don't even know what kind of thing they're going for. So we'll just have to wait and see if it ends up being a good fit at all. So yeah, but it's good. Again, the fan art always delivers on at least the ones that we bring onto the show. Definitely always deliver. All right, John. So now this is all the Superman stuff from here on, right? We're diving into the Superman stuff. So
I believe so.
Now the review. Here's the thing. Let me set the table here, and we'll go through this quickly. I want to get your reaction to this, Sean, because we want to get into the actual social media reactions that are now out. So the very first thing, of course, somebody broke a review embargo that was the Daily Beast calling the movie superficial, silly, terrible, overstuffed. And then they weren't the only ones, because if you keep going here, we had multiple embargo breaks. Because just so you guys know, I mean, when we were doing the show live, just now the social media reactions embargo has dropped. And then 12 hours from now at noon Eastern time on Tuesday, the review embargo would drop. But the Variety critic broke embargo by talking about it in an indirect way, because that still counts. Like, he didn't put his review up. They didn't put the Variety review up for Superman, but because they got to see the movie at an early press screening, they were comparing it to Heads of State, saying it's better than Heads of State, but that still kind of tells you something about the movie that is otherwise embargoed. So there was that instance where they broke the embargo, and then if you keep going here, John, we have a few more things. Of course, we had another embargo break, but this was a positive review. This was in the GQ article, which we'll talk about more in a little bit, because David Cornswet did this cover photo shoot for GQ, and in that article they talked about it in basically embargo breaking terms. I mean, like, what the hell? I don't understand if the studio didn't have the right communication with the journalists on what they could or could not say. But I mean, at least in this case, they were saying the movie is fantastic. Like, they enjoyed the movie, John. Let's see, what's the quote? Saying that, hey, you won't find any controversial neck snapping here. So, boom.
Neck snap that like button, folks.
Eric Walters joining in, just saw the movie. All right. So having a more of an adverse reaction, not a fan, Eric. Were you at the premiere, Eric, or are you in a different time zone where you're already able to see early screenings? Let us know in the chat. But definitely
Just
no
don't
spoilers,
spoil,
please.
Thank you very much.
Yes, exactly. We don't want to get into the spoilers. Let's keep going to the next one, John, because we had multiple critics breaking social media embargoes talking about this movie. Like the Daily Beast, remember, he called it final nail in the superhero cinema's coffin. And then I think on the John Roca show, there were like 3 separate critics reached out to them saying they did not like the movie. These people who are legitimate critics that told me that the movie is a mess. So again, mixed reactions so far. Again, from a very small sample size, but that is about to grow with the social media reactions. But even then, it's not going to be full reviews. So if you guys are worried, like Enterprising, keep your expectations still, in line with the hype that you have, because you never know. Like some movies, 10 people might hate it, and we might hear from those 10 people before the 90 others that loved it, or the other way around. We don't know that. So let's keep going here, John. We do have all this embargo breaking happen, and then Forbes kind of put a list together. But I mean, John, do you have anything else to add to this? I know you went through a bunch of this as well, and I, for the life of me, can't figure out why these embargoes were all being broken, because this is going to be, if not the biggest movie, then certainly the most talked about movie of the year. And I don't get it. Like, I mean, yeah, like Frankie G saying, Superman is the superhero. He's the OG. And Warner Brothers had put so much money behind this movie's marketing. How could they not get this message out across to the folks who are meant to not put all this stuff on the internet before the day and the time when they're meant to be able to do this? Because at this point, I'm like, if the most egregious offenders, Warner Brothers should, or DC Studios should, at least restrict, if not revoke, their access. Because I feel like otherwise maybe they'll be like, this is, slap on the wrist, don't do it again. But what are your thoughts on this? Like, we're not used to seeing this, but like with Marvel, doesn't usually happen. I mean, review bombing is one thing, but this is completely different from that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Caleb a little bit, where he's saying the embargoes being broken were meant to get attention and clicks, because like the Daily Beast article, that is obviously rage bait. It'll get people talking, and then like again, I think it was just like rage baiting. It's publicity, and it's like a whole thing. Maybe it's a Superman one was posted like, oh, these guys are raging about it, let me post something positive, and that was the GQ article. I think here I think it's just either rage baiting, clickbait, whatever it is. I think that's just, or they're just that dumb, or both. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be. It very much could
Eric,
be. All
right, Eric. If you don't like the Superman movie, that's fine. Do not fucking trash Sky High. Sky High is still the best superhero movie Disney has ever done, and I will die on that hill. So don't be shitting on Sky High. Do not be shitting on Sky High. Let's keep the Superman talk for Superman. Don't drag that name into this and shit on it. Sky High, peak cinema. Don't at me. Anyway.
Yeah. All right. So John, what I want to do now, let's switch gears for a second, right? Because we have a bunch more to talk about, including the whole GQ article that I keep calling him because he is Superman, but David Cornsweet did. But since the reactions are now dropping, I'm gonna let's bring these in, shall we? Let's bring in these social media reactions. Let's talk about them, and then we're gonna like switch over and back to back to regularly scheduled programming, as it were. But the first thing I wanted to do before we get into the reactions, I think the whole soundtrack for the movie is out, and track number 7 sounds eerily similar to the Batman theme, like the Michael Giacchino Batman theme. I mean, it's still kind of theory level stuff. And again, please, nobody spoil it. Even if you guys have seen the movie, some of you guys in the chat, I think, have seen the movie already, because you might have been, you're in a different part of the world and you got to see it before us in the US, or you were at one of the early screenings and you got the chance to see it. So don't spoil it for us. But I saw that and I was like, dude, um, if after all the debating James Gunn does put Robert Pattinson Batman in there, that'd be kind of insane. Although unlikely, and it's probably just theory baiting, but like, hey, we'll see. We will see. I just wanted to point that out. You know, track number 7. I did listen to it. Sounds eerily similar. Although it's, I mean, again, it could be one of those like villainous like scenes, but it was fun. It was fun to listen to it. This is the other thing that a lot of you guys have been bringing up. This is the only thing political that we're going to get into.
That's literally not what you said,
explicitly.
Eric. Like you're backpedaling, and now you're just being insulting and just being an asshole. So this isn't just not liking a movie. If you don't like the movie, fine. 1, don't drag other great movies down with it, and 2, don't be an asshole, because then you're going to get banned. You're like, here's the thing. It's one thing to not like a movie. If you don't like the movie and the movie ends up sucking, that's fine. I don't care. Like, that's the whole basis of discussion. 1, it's just don't spoil it. Don't be an asshole. And that's the thing. It's just like, don't insult people for not liking a movie. Like, for instance, M3, that's a movie that looked like shit to me, but I'm not going to insult my friends for liking that movie and enjoying that movie. I like joke with them like, ew, that movie's gross, but like, I'm not going to shit on them for not liking the movie or liking the movie, or how I loved The Surfer and none of my friends like The Surfer, and that's fine. Like, the thing is, I wish they liked it, because then we can, like, you know, talk about it and enjoy it together, because I want, you know, but that's a boring world, you know, for all of us to like the same movies and hate the same movies. That's boring. Just like healthy discussion is all that's asking for, and now you're just being insulting. That's all, you know.
Now, I know, John, that we were going to talk about James Gunn's comments from earlier about how, you know, the Superman, the movie is about an immigrant that came from other places, and, you know, how we've kind of lost these values of basic human kindness, which is something they've been talking about since they started work on the movie. The fact that this movie is meant to be more of, like, you know, Superman, like, is just kind. He's embodies kindness in a world where kindness is considered old-fashioned. So it's an extension of that now that the movie is here. And he also addressed the idea that, you know, hey, look, some of that messaging may feel political, though, again, some of you guys who have seen the movie are mentioning in the chat that it's within the realm of the movie itself, like the story of the film itself. It's not to do with, you know, any real world things. This world of the movie is completely separate from our world. Not to mention, James Gunn also was trying to dispel the idea that, hey, this movie needs to make $700 million to be successful. He kind of said what we have been saying. This movie needs to hit well with audiences and critics, and for the majority of them, you know, which we'll find out in the next few days what that looks like. And you know what, the money, he's like 500 million or something, like, it's fine. Like, it doesn't need to make 700 million. Now, again, the budget for this, we don't have the official numbers. They never gave you the official numbers. The reporting was that it's somewhere between 300 to 400 million, possibly a little bit more than that when you combine the marketing budget and the production budget. So if you go off of just those numbers alone, you can estimate that maybe, you know, 600 to 700 million is the range. And yeah, I mean, I think James Gunn's saying something to the effect of, you know, this movie is about, you know, immigrants, you know, that there is, you know, political, not overtones, but maybe undertones to the movie. They were blown out of context, so that at the LA premiere,
exactly, just like the Indian 12-year-old comment.
It's people were asking everybody about this. I mean, Sean Gunn was on the red carpet saying, "Look, we love immigrants. If you don't like that, then you're not American." People who said no to immigrants are against the American way. They're against what the American dream is all about. And then you literally see here Nathan Fillion on the red carpet being asked about this, saying, "Look, somebody needs a hug. It's just a movie, guys. Like, let's not make this any more, you know, I don't know, controversial, more important than it needs to be. It's a movie. It's a movie." And again, I think a lot of people are reacting rightfully or wrong. I mean, certainly, you know, the people reacting adversely to those comments, you haven't seen the movie yet, right? It's watch the movie first, then decide if you think this actually it has anything to say about the world.
I do like how he's wearing a green suit, though.
I love that suede green suit. I do love that. All right, well, now let's dive into so we already did that. Let's dive into the reactions. Before we do, I love the GIF, the idea that Matt Reeves and Andy Muschietti, who were both at the premiere, sitting next to each other. I think this is the perfect vibe of the whole the whole situation there. But speaking of reactions, we do have the reactions. John, this is one of them. Alamo City Movie Talk saying Superman is a grand film that shows us a more grounded superhero. A lot to unfold here, but great fight scenes, and excited for this new DC universe, John. So that's a good review. Again, reaction, I should say. These are not reviews. Then Dalton Burdett saying Superman is a really fun ride, stumbles a bit in the second act, but finishes incredibly strong. Corn Sweat and Brosnahan are great, but Holt is on another level. Looking forward to more of the new DCU. Full review tomorrow. So he's saying the second act is a little, suspect, but the rest of it is great, and also praising the three main performers in the movie. And then there's one more before I get your opinion on this, Sean, because then we have a lot more to get into. So we'll do these in batches. Brandon Pope TV saying James Gunn cooked. Almost got too goofy, almost being the key word, but never crossed the line. Optimism and hope shine bright, slight 1978 Donner vibes, which we have all been speculating, but established itself as a Superman for a new age, just what we needed. Full review on Tuesday. What do you think about these set of reviews so far, these in reactions so far, John? These are all on X.
Yeah, it's really cool. Really cool to see.
All right, so let's keep going because we do have a few more. I'm just going to go to the timeline. So Josh saying Superman is a solid film, too many characters. So I guess that we have seen that now in multiple places. But Nicholas Hoult absolutely kills it. Corn Sweat is decent, but not as good as Cavill. Gunn knows what he's doing. Plastic Trash Can saying it's sad the new Superman is probably going to flop because of the dumbass. I mean, look, that one honestly probably feels like from somebody who did not see the movie. But Sean Chandler, who we know saw the movie, saying Superman was my most anticipated film of the year, and I left the theater with a smile on my face. It's possibly the most comic booky live action comic book film ever. It fully leans into the wacky sci-fi. It really feels like a comic book or Justice League Unlimited on screen. John, that review says a lot about, I think, what we were expecting.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on what Sean Chandler had to say?
Yeah, it's awesome to see. Again, I don't want to read too much because, again, try not to hype it too much, but yeah, awesome.
Looks like Nathan Fillion was wearing the lantern ring on the red carpet. Nice. Okay. Dude, The Watcher was there, and he's saying it's his favorite superhero movie ever now, period. That is great. All right, Ron's getting hyped. Everyone at the premiere loved it. Only if you didn't like it. There you go. Okay. By the way, the Watcher had some reactions earlier saying it's now his favorite Superman movie, period. David is the RDJ of DC, in my opinion. He killed it. He is Superman. Bass Reeves saying he's going to come back for our review, but not watching the movie. Okay. And The Watcher saying the movie isn't political at all. In my opinion, Gunn was clearly referring to the fictional politics, not the real life, what's going on in our world. And then he asked Matt Reeves or James Gunn about the script, and it looks like James Gunn has read Matt Reeves, the Batman script, which is great. Kumail Nanjiani was also at the red carpet, by the way, John. Thank you for the report from The Watcher. All right, okay. I can't wait to see Superman again tomorrow. Okay, The Watcher is going to go see the Amazon Prime screening as well, saying to me, and that's how I felt. I like the few extra scenes. Okay, so you're talking about the post-credit sequences. Yep, and so far from what we know, the post-credit sequences are not exactly meant to be like game changers, but we don't know what they are exactly. We sort of know what they're about. We're not going to reveal that to you. But Enterprising saying Grace Randolph said it's the best Superman film she's ever seen. Not perfect, but close. Hey,
now that has me worried. That has me worried because fuck Grace Randolph. But
look, by the way, I will say this is just to let you guys know where John and I stand on the history of Superman movies. I love Man of Steel. I still think Henry Cavill, until I go to see this movie, we'll see if that changes. I think Henry Cavill was a great Superman. Man of Steel is my favorite Superman movie ever, and I loved all the movies that came before it. Grew up with the Reeves movies, loved Brandon Routh. Kind of a boring film, but he was a good actor. I think he was a good pick for the role. John, on the other hand, you are not a fan of Man of Steel, but you do love the older Reeves movies.
I mean, the first I love, the ones I love are the Superman the movie and the Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut. I remember loving that when I first watched it, and I might have to watch it again because I know people are more like, both have their weaknesses and both have their pros. I think Superman 2, the theatrical cut, is pretty good. It's not great, but it's good. And then I think the Richard Donner cut is superior. It still has some flaws, but it's not perfect. And then Superman 3 and 4 suck donkey dicks. Superman Returns, it has a lot. It's a great premise and concept for a Superman movie, but the problem is it relies too heavily on the Donner movies, but it like doesn't work. It just kind of just doesn't work as its own thing. It relies too heavily. It couldn't carve its own identity, and because of that, it like kind of fails. And so, that's the sad part. And Man of Steel, I don't think it's the worst Superman movie. I mean, Superman 4 and 3 still exist. So yeah, I think but yeah, I think Superman has had a dodgy history on the big screen. So obviously we can, we'll see how this one is, and
Yeah. We do have reviews from some of the other folks as well. I'm gonna see if I can find some more here. But I mean, Joe Blow apparently put out their Superman reaction as well. Eric Davis, I think, put out there. So okay, so let's take a look at the Joe Blow one next. Let me kind of get the screen back up here. Joe Blow said, "We saw Superman and it was a mixed bag for our critic. Not a disaster at all. Has some great moments, but not as good as hoped for. Oddly, the movie shortchanged a vital character, Lois Lane, and surprisingly Clark Kent. Lots of soups, not much Clark." John, this is slightly on the negative side. They still give it credit, but it's a mixed bag. What do you think?
I feel like that makes sense. Like, again, the thing is, even James Gunn said, it's if you not everyone is gonna love the movie, and that's fine. Like, also, guys, let's please stop shitting on Eric. He calmed down. As long as Eric is not insulting people, that's fine. Eric can give his opinion. Let's not shit on Eric. So, guys, let's calm down. He's giving his opinion. That's okay. As long as he's not insulting other movies or insulting people, that's fine. Like, see, we're good. Let's have as much as we can, a clean discussion without shitting on other people, please. So, thank you. Because guys, if we're now I'm on Eric's side, because it's like now you're insulting him. It's like you're doing the same thing that you're accusing him. So like, please stop, or I'm gonna shut the fucking chat down, because this is getting ridiculous, guys. Okay, like
let me just say this. Like Caleb is saying, it would be a very boring conversation if we were all saying the same thing.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, if Eric wants to give his opinion, that's fine. So stop shitting on him. Like, it's.
I mean, look, we're not here to basically be having just an echo chamber. What we are here for is essentially to compare like our reactions, to talk about it, to have a nice conversation, right? The end credits from what I've read are pretty good. Look, Joe Blow, like, by the way, enterprising saying, like you see on screen there, Joe Blow does mention everyone else seems to love it, and we'll be running a few takes on it this week, whatever we may say, worth seeing on the biggest screen possible. So at least they're telling you this is a movie that is made for IMAX, it was filmed in IMAX cameras. That's what they keep telling us, and I'm sure it's going to look great because the trailers have looked fantastic. They bring you so up and close and personal with all the actors. They're using some new technology that Superman had on set, which they've only used in a few other movies, but not the first time James Gunn and Henry Bram have worked with that camera tech. So they've been able to kind of like refine their techniques with it, which is leading them to doing new kinds of shots. The way they shot Superman flying is different than what we have seen ever before. JoeBlow.com also saying, I think it also will play better for hardcore fans of the comic and definitely families. Just something about it didn't work 100% for me. It was the human element. So again, look, a lot of us watching are obviously following this really closely. So we are what you would call super fans, right? Otherwise, there's a lot of people out there who won't necessarily consider themselves super fans. So everybody's reactions will vary. This one is from Eric Davis. This is a much more in-depth reaction. Still a social media reaction. So I don't know how big the review is going to be from him, but I'm sure it will be longer. I'm going to read this out, and then we can talk about this. Eric Davis saying, by the way, he is with Rotten Tomatoes. So with Rotten Tomatoes, let's see, a Fandango on Rotten Tomatoes is where he's featured. So he's an interviewer, pizza nerd, a New Yorker. There you go. So he's a blogger for Rotten Tomatoes. Let's take a look at what he said. James Gunn's Superman is the perfect superhero movie and a terrific start for the new DC studios. It's big, bright, exciting, full of hope, and it never loses its sense of wonder. Watching it felt like ripping open a comic book and feasting on its wild, chaotic imagination. Loved it. Gunn sets up his universe right from the start and jumps into Superman's story when he's at his lowest point. It's narrative choices like that, which help make this feel unlike any Superman story we have experienced before on the big screen. Gunn goes out of his way to change things up and shake loose our expectations, but it still plays like a classic Superman adventure at the same time. Nicholas Hoult absolutely crushed it as Lex, and Eddie Gattegi very much steals scenes as Mr. Terrific. He also has my favorite line delivery in the film too. It's the relationship between Clark and Lois that ultimately won me over, though. It's well written, and those two have some sizzling chemistry, which we know from the trailers. This is a departure from modern era DC movies, from previous modern era DC movies. It's lighter tonally, and it's still very emotional and timely, and it definitely wears its heart on its cape. I also adore the subtle nods to Donner's 1978 Superman. Gunn has become a master at delivering a well-rounded cinematic experience that truly gives you all the feels, and a Superman film is another winner in my book. Very much looking forward to what comes next. Look up, DC is back. John, a very positive review from Eric Davis. What are your thoughts?
Nice to see, and I'm surprised he got all that within the character limit. Like, damn.
Yeah, it's probably past the character limit, but The Watcher, we will see you tomorrow. Thanks for stopping in and giving us your insights from the red carpet. JC's here. What are you guys getting? This will break records. Look, we're talking about like the tracking. That's what we were talking about, by the way, JC. And the record breaking would be in the sense that this is still has been tracking. Now, again, it might change overnight, because if more reviews come out when the embargo drops tomorrow, the reactions start to skew really negative, which so far, the majority are still positive. There are a few negative, and there are some that are mixed. The tracking will adjust, but the tracking numbers as of when we started the show, before the embargo dropped, was looking at somewhere between 116 to 170, I think it was, or something like that. It was on the high end, it would break records for DC, for Warner Brothers, and on the low end, it would still do really, really well, one of the biggest openings of the year. So the numbers will move and they will change, and most people were expecting somewhere in that range of 90 to 120. That's still the majority of people and what they're expecting. Just Keep Filming saying, what are you guys on Rotten Tomatoes predictions? I would really love to know. John, has that changed for you? I know we went over this last week, but where would you think this movie is going to come in on Rotten Tomatoes?
I'll stick with my original prediction, which I think was an 81. So
81. Okay, so I'm thinking is going to be in the mid 80s, maybe like an 85. That's probably what I'm thinking about. And it could be higher, it could be lower, but I think based on what I've seen so far, that's probably what it's going to be. Let's keep going here, shall we? So I'm going to see if I can find us more Superman reactions. Let's see what else we have here. This is the Grace Randolph one you guys were talking about. This is the best Superman movie to date when James Gunn gets out of the way and lets his work speak for itself. It's incredible. Don't know what she means by that, but I'm sure she will specify in her review, which the embargo drops at noon today, saying it's not perfect, but darn close, and made me a believer in Gunn's DC. So Grace Randolph with a positive review. Neb's Good Take saying Superman is the best comic book movie of the year. James Gunn proves once again that he directs movies. David Cornsweet is Superman. I had a blast, and so will your entire family. All right, so we already did the Sean Chandler one. Mace Avindu saying Superman made me believe that a man can fly again. It can't be overstated. Cornsweet and Brosnahan are perfectly cast. Holt as Luthor is an all-timer that stands out above all previous iterations. All due respect to 1978, this is the greatest Superman movie of all time. He's got a longer reaction, but this is just the end of it. Courtney Howard saying Superman absolutely soars, an awesome achievement and hopeful bomb, honoring past iterations, cinema and comics, while cutting its own path. Cornsweet has that heroic shimmer. Holt is delightfully diabolic. Brosnahan brims with whim and vigor. Crypto's adorbs. John, your thoughts on this? I'm going to keep scrolling here, but again, we're seeing both negative and positive. We're seeing mixed bags, but I feel like still the majority of what we have seen is positive. What about you?
I think this is nice to see.
Nice. And Chris Killian saying Superman is a living, breathing DC comic book come to life, blending James Gunn's trademark quirkiness with the earnestness of the Donner films. It's perfectly cast. Going to it feels like Superman peeled off the page, with Nicholas Hoult steals almost every scene he's in. Michelle saying Superman had a whole theater cheering, vibrant and action-packed. This film is filled with so much hope. The entire cast brought it, especially David and Nicholas, giving everything I wanted to see with Superman and Lex. Real Rejects gave us a video reaction. So, I don't know, the greatest movie ever. I cried 10 times. I laughed out loud. I clawed into John. It's like perfect. It's perfect. It was action-packed. It was heartfelt. It was bright and colorful, but also pretty bone-crunching at times. It has everything you want and more, so much more. It's the best Superman movie. It is not recency bias. I can say that calmly and confidently. This is undoubtedly my favorite Superman movie. I was moved to tears. I thought I was roasting David Cornsweet is going to be Superman for real. Okay, so there we go. Ash saying Superman getting good reviews, movie being praised for being bold. 2 shows and 2 movies already slated for release. This is the best week as a DC fan. I'll just leave that one on screen because my voice is going to go soon. But yeah. John Campion's channel, everyone is giving positive. Well, I mean, look, I don't know where they're sourcing their reviews, but obviously we're doing this in front of your eyes on X. So, you know, the reactions are, they're not all 100% positive, but, you know, some of them are mixed bag. But, I mean, even Grace Randolph, like John was saying, she had a positive reaction. So, but John, so far the theme here seems to be that this movie plays really well for fans of comic book movies. It also plays well to people who just want to go see, you know, something that transports them to a different world. And the theme amongst the negative reviews or mixed bag seems to be that the second act might be a little wonky. Maybe they were expecting more character development. So this movie isn't necessarily the one that's going to win an Oscar for best screenplay. Seems like that's maybe true. But overall, we're still seeing the majority of the reviews are positive. John, what do you think?
Awesome to see.
Pacerland changing their prediction to 2 billion. I'm sure they're being a little facetious, but yeah. JC saying, I don't think the reviews are going to hinder summer movies this year versus word of mouth, though, from general audiences and nothing internet-based. The net hates Jurassic World and they made 300 million, exactly. So I think it's going to depend a lot on you guys going to see the movie for yourself and then judging it for yourself, much like we will. So I don't think they're, I mean, look, Real Rejects, I don't think they're bought and paid for. I mean, they do this for the love of the movies like we do. So, yeah, but I mean, hey, they enjoyed the movie. So there you go.
I'm curious, Eric, what would you, since the Watcher can't be, what would you like give it like a rating? Like, what would your rating be like out of 10? I'm just curious. Where like the vibe I'm getting is like a 4.5, 5-ish, but I'm just curious to see what your rating is.
Okay, so Josh said Superman is a true summer delight. And Jenna Anderson saying Superman is everything I wanted it to be and a million things more. It's all inspiring. The Superman myth is not the superhero myth is not the same after this, for the better. So yeah, I mean, again, hope is the term that we're seeing a lot, which is what you want to see associated with Superman. And you know, everyone is perfectly cast. Josh was saying Brandon Davis. I think we went over Brandon Davis earlier. Did we not? Okay, Brandon Davis saying Superman is a triumph for the new DC universe. It's a comic book brought to beautiful live-action life, brimming with hope and fulfillment. It actually elicits tears of joy from me. It's a Superman for everyone. David Cornsweet was born for Superman and Clark Kent. Loved it. So, I mean, even the reviews that aren't necessarily positive, they're praising David Cornsweet, they're praising Nicholas Hoult, and certainly, I mean, no, they're saying the chemistry between Lois Lane and David Cornsweet is sizzling, John. So, not bad at all. Wong also pointing out here in their reaction, it's an amazing new take Superman is on the iconic character. James Gunn explores how superheroes could be seen as godlike in the real world. It's not subtle about its religious symbolism or scared to be mature. The ending is very controversial, the best DC movies since Shazam 2. John, controversial ending. Best movie since Shazam 2. These are two things we haven't seen yet. What are your thoughts?
I'm not. I mean,
Controversial
is pretty
ending.
goated. I'm just
People did
saying.
say that there's no neck snapping. So what could be controversial about the ending of the movie, John? What do you think?
There's 2 neck snappings.
Without any spoilers. Okay, let's keep going here. Eric Davis, we already looked at. Brandon Davis. Okay, so more from Brandon Davis saying Cornsweat portrays an exceptional iteration of Superman with sincerity, heroism, purity, and inspirational traits. Cornsweat and Brosnahan's chemistry for Clark and Lois is off the charts. Their relationship is an excellent driver, especially early in the movie, which makes sense. Brandon Davis, of course, was at the LA premiere today. All right, I think I might have gone too. Nope. Aaron saying it's Superman is a perfect comic book movie. I felt like I was at my local comic shop reading a Superman book as the characters leapt off the page. Cornsweat embodies everything Superman should be. I laughed, I cried, I looked up. Thank you for the invite, WB Canada. There you go. So he went to see it in an early screening or screening today in Canada. Ash saying, I really like Superman. It's beautiful, hopeful, and reminds you why these stories matter. Just the absolute solid comic book movie I needed. Then you have the Batman film news saying, James Gunn delivers an all-timer with Superman. He perfectly captures the essence of the character, fully embracing the fantastical elements to the point where it felt like a comic book brought to life. While Cornsweat is already my favorite Superman, the real standout in Nicholas Hoult, a phenomenal performance as Lex Luthor. John, Nicholas Hoult is getting almost universal praise here. I don't know. Do you think this might be his best superhero outing to date? I mean, he was the Beast.
I don't know. He was
the
in
X-Men.
X-Men Days of Future Past. That movie's pretty fucking goated, so.
Right, so... and he missed out on both Superman and Batman, but it looks like he's made Lex his own, so there you go. Chris Parker saying Superman left me with a giant happy dumb grin. Cornsweat embodies Superman in such a perfect way. This is an actual comic book come to life. James Gunn's DCU feels extraordinary and makes me excited to see more of this world. I have my nitpicks. Others will too. Overall, I'm very happy. So again, one of the things that we talk about usually is these social media reactions tend to lean more positive, and then the full reviews, they'll get into more of the nitpicks. Do you think, like Chris is saying here, there will be some more criticisms, even from the people who give us positive initial reactions? Do you expect, those reviews to maybe skew a little more negative when they come out overall? Or do you think, again, overall positive reception leads to overall positive reviews?
I don't know. I just, obviously it's,
fan.
As I said, I think I'm gonna. It's cherry. But I think I don't know. I think it's still gonna be mixed to positive. I mean, I feel like usually on the net there's a lot of like glowing like social media outlet like that. This has happened for a lot of movies where it's like, oh, it's it's really good, it's really good, it's really good. I will see it for myself. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. So we'll get into that. This is nice to see, but it still doesn't really impact what I'm trying. I'm trying to go in with as low expectations as I can, even though I'm hyped, even though I've bought into a lot of the marketing. I'm still trying not to get overly excited and not try to get into that mindset, I guess.
Paul, by the way, here saying that the camera in the movie was doing shit you would not believe in the third act. I was probably staring at the screen with my mouth open, but I can't remember. So I know we talked about how James Gunn mentioned they've shot the action in this movie in a way that we haven't seen, certainly in no Superman movie before, because they were able to. So when they shoot the Superman action, most of the time, they will, even with Henry Cavill, they would put him on a pitchfork. You've seen those, right? Like those blue green screen pitchforks where the actor's sort of in the middle and tied in at the waist, and then the actor will be in the air, like doing different things, and usually the camera is locked down somewhere. In this movie, when they shot that stuff, they had Henry Braham and the camera operators, the director of photography, also, in the air and shooting all these different angles with the camera and the actor, both getting these dynamic angles, which is how we get some of those shots in the Superman teaser footage, the trailer footage, and obviously in the movie as well. We're going to go through a couple of more of these, John, and then let's kind of switch back and we're going to talk about the teaser they put out. Another teaser for Superman out of the movie is basically out, and then also there's an IMAX behind the scenes clip that came out as well, which both of those clips you guys should go check out. And then we'll finish off by talking about the box office projections, which we'll talk about what they were before these social media embargo drop, but then we'll maybe give our prediction based on where we think it is going to be since these social media reactions are out. So Joseph saying here, James Gunn and the cast really bottled that classic Superman magic in this film. As someone who grew up buried in DC Comics, this felt like watching my childhood leap off the page in real time. And John, it feels like, like he's saying here, families, comic book nerds, anyone who has ever loved a good dog story, this is the kind of film you want to go see. So those are all things we've been seeing as a common theme as well. The fact that this movie feels like it's leaping off the page, right, in a way that it feels very much like a comic book brought to life. Obviously, Zack Snyder's movies, he brought some of those iconic comic book imagery shots into his movies, but for some of the stories he was trying to adapt, it worked really well. But then for others, maybe people didn't respond as well. Here, it looks like James Gunn is doing exactly that, even saying, I think this movie is about kindness, which everyone can relate to. So your thoughts on the theme that, hey, for most people, this movie, for most people who have seen the film, it feels like an animated series come to life. Justice League Unlimited, Superman the Animated Series, or just a Superman comic book brought to life in a way that's never been done before. Are you surprised, given what we have seen so far from all the trailers, that this is actually what we're getting in the movie itself?
I mean, that's the vibe, and that's it seems to be the vibe I'm getting from all of this, and yeah, good stuff.
Frankie G is like, too late for me. I'm overhyped. I can't help myself. There you go. Enterprising still here saying so far is definitely leaning heavily positive. Exactly, it is. Absolutely. That's what we're seeing so far. Cedric here in the chat saying the most comic booky movie to me has been Sin City so far. I mean, hey, you know what? It all depends on, again, your definition of what a good comic book movie is. So, I mean, if you get a chance to see Superman, when you get a chance to see Superman, let us know what you think, Cedric. We'd love to hear from you. JC saying best depiction for me of Lex is the animated series. No one has come close to that for me. Sophisticated, deceptive, charismatic, and a brute force that can give a punch. Hopefully we'll get that here too. Marco just joining in the chat now saying hello, hi guys. So thank you, Marco, for joining in. Hopefully we'll be able to get your review when you go see the movie. But let's read the Hollywood Handle one, and then we'll switch over to talking about the box office projections, John. So Superman saying Superman perfectly understands what it means to be human. It's a powerful and promising start to the DCU. The film moves you by revealing the heart behind the cape. David is phenomenal, but a huge highlight is how Nicholas Hoult delivers. A phenomenal Lex Luthor, cold, charismatic, and menacing. One of the best villains DC has ever brought to the screen. The score and design, the sound design are out of this world. You feel every note. Every impact makes you soar inside. John, that's pretty high. That's high praise, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen so far anything about the score of the movie or the sound design, but finally we get to hear about that as well. Are you excited to listen to the score now that it's out there? I mean, maybe after the show you can go and
maybe I can maybe I can drift off to sleep with it on.
There we go. All right, more reactions. Fun and full of heart. It's the film I've been waiting for ever since I read my first comic book. All right, great. The action bristles with kinetic energy. Track 7 of the score sends shivers down my spine, and man, did I cry a lot. That's the one, by the way, people were thinking sounds like one from the Batman. So I wonder what happens during track 7. We'll find out soon enough. Jeremy saying James Gunn absolutely nailed it with Superman. From the music to VFX to the camera work and humor, he crafted the ideal lighthearted, kid-friendly family film of the summer. Every character had standout moments, especially Crypto. Great stuff. Can't believe the reviews are not in, Marco. These are all social media reactions. So just keep that in mind. The review embargo drops at noon tomorrow. This is noon in American time. So Marco, I know you're in Portugal, so for you that will be in the evening hours. So do keep an eye out. These reviews drop just hours from now. Yeah, I mean, look, that is true, Man of Time. It looks like some of the nitpicks are there. Some people are like, and we will see more of that when the review comes out. Some people will just not like the movie. Some people will say the majority of it is great, and I can overlook some of the things that I didn't like. So we'll just have to wait and find out. John was shocked. I don't know. I guess I wasn't shocked, but I wasn't expecting Grace Randolph to love it as much as she did. But then again, it's only a social media reaction, so we'll just see how it turns out overall. Yeah, I mean, John Campio's stream is saying overwhelmingly positive. We have seen a few negative ones. We have seen a couple of ones that are mixed. So, we'll just have to wait and see what it ultimately turns out. I'm going to keep an eye out for more reviews, and it looks like so far the majority are positive. And then, there are a few that, a little more negative or they're mixed. But I mean, I just read one by Bill Bria saying Superman completely reinvigorated my love of the superhero genre. Its irreverence, bright colors, kinetic camera work, impeccable casting, bold choices, and a ton of heart. Thrilled and delighted me equally. I just didn't believe you could fly. I felt like I was too. So look at that. I mean, look, people are generally saying this is going to be a good movie. So if that's what you take home from the show today, then there you go. That it's a good thing that most people are liking it. But I mean, hey, we'll be back here talking about it tomorrow, and we'll tell you what we thought. If you guys got a chance to see it, then we'll talk about that too. By the way, Angelica saying her Rotten Tomatoes prediction is 95%, John. So I don't know if you want to note that down.
Or is it 95?
Ron saying most 95% for Angelica. Ron saying this is the most people I'm predicting will be a 7 to 8 out of a 10. Yeah, so I mean that's still a pretty high score overall. Swag fan saying I expect mixed reviews, but as long as it's mostly positive, that's what's important. I'm going regardless. Yeah, if you bought the tickets, don't return them now. Jalen looking for at least a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Great stuff. All right, with that, let's put a pause on the social media reactions. We'll get more into those tomorrow and the reviews, of course, but let's finish off the show by talking about the two pieces of marketing that they were bringing in, John. So this is the Get Tickets Now teaser. And if you want to hit play on it, you get to see Hammer Baravia, all the Justice Gang, Crypto, the new really cute shot. Looks amazing. Again, if you guys are seeing the movie, you will get to see all of these shots soon. And then, John, we also, if you want to skip ahead of all the James Gunn stuff that we already addressed, let's talk about the IMAX behind the scenes clip, because that looked really cute to me. The behind the
here
scenes.
it is. Oh,
yeah. I think that's the Q interview. That's where we have, if you scroll down, we already have some information of the 4K Steelbook. So you can pre-order it, it looks like. What does it say there? Or is that just the artwork, I think? That's just the artwork. So coming soon on 4K Steelbook and standard Blu-ray and DVD in the US. This is going to be what the covers will look like. So if you click into the image, we can take a closer look. Very much focused on the Forces of Solitude. Got a really classic vibe to it, John. Would you collect this on Steelbook yourself?
I mean, if the movie's good, but I mean, I don't have 4K Ultra HD. I mean, I do have Blu-ray, so okay. I forgot that it said Blu-ray, but I was just saying I don't have 4K Ultra. I don't, but I do have Blu-ray, so yeah.
They will have all the different formats, all of them. Angelica saying, DVD. I'm not convinced 82% critics like James Gunn works. So Jalen, on the other hand, audience score probably a good 97%. All right, that's a pretty high number. Fingers crossed for 90% a critic score. Steven saying he's expecting a Rotten Tomatoes score between 80 and 95%. So a range for that score. Yeah. Well, the PS5 is also a Blu-ray player, Ron, so you can definitely use that. I mean, DVDs and Blu-rays.
Well, PS5 is it goes up to 4K Ultra HD, and then yeah, that so yeah, you can do all three.
By the way, I saw just another fan on X saying their prediction is 800 million for the box office, 92% Rotten Tomatoes score, and the Meta score being 89%. So high predictions. All right, so let's get into the box office stuff, John. The last article that we want to get into today before we wrap up, and we will go through a couple of more social media reactions on the way out. Don't you worry. Don't you guys worry. By the way, if you are watching still, hit the like button if you haven't already. But before the show started, this is where numbers stood. Now, of course, tomorrow when the reviews come out, the tracking will probably adjust. But before the show started, if you scroll down here, John, the latest predictions from Box Office Theory said that on the low end, Superman would open to, if you a little bit higher, but on the low end of the range that they're predicting, it would be 130 million. and on the high end, it would be 171 million. So my question to you, John, would be based on the social media reactions you've seen so far, based on all the marketing and obviously the general sense of excitement, do you think that the movie can still hit that 171, the high end number? Do you think that number even goes up? Or do you think we're looking at the consensus right now is most people expected somewhere around 120 million? Man of Steel debuted to 116 million. So 120 would still beat the last Superman movie, but the record for DC is Batman v Superman with 166 million. The record for Warner Brothers is 169, which was the last Harry Potter movie. So in order to hit the high mark in this range of 171 million, Superman would have to beat the DC record and the Warner Brothers record. Can it get there? Where do you think we stand right now? 130 to 171, even higher or even lower? Where would you put that number based on what we have been seeing in the show so far?
Yeah, I think it'll be like, again, I think it'll be higher than 100. I don't think it'll reach 171. I just do not think so. I hope so. I just don't think so. I think it'll be like 125 to 130 maybe. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, you guys can tell us in the comments or in the live chat what you think about that number. 130 to 171 was what Box Office Theory were predicting. This is before the social media reactions came out, and obviously the social media reactions still largely are positive. So we'll just have to wait and see if the reviews have an effect, or if the reviews end up being much more mixed than what we were expecting. But I mean, for me, John, I would say it still has a potential to hit the high end of that number. It will just depend ultimately on what the reviews end up saying. So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Frankie calling for 180 million. I know a bunch of us have made predictions. If I had to make a prediction right now in the moment, I would say you're looking at probably somewhere in the 130 to 140 million. So on the low end of that spectrum, because there's still, a lot of people who might be reticent. People who are tired of DC or superhero movies in general not being good of late, they probably will wait to see how other people are reacting to this movie. But that's why Warner Brothers has gone so far ahead of it. They want to get people in the theaters early in the week so that the hardcore fans go see it on Tuesday like we are with the prime screening, and then the goal being that we talk about it, in glowing fashion, like these social media reactions have been doing. And as a result of that, the average audience will show up in the opening weekend, and then hopefully we can go up from that 130 million closer to the 171. So we'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see how it turns out, John. We'll be back tomorrow after the movie, so you guys can expect us to go live somewhere between 10 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. We'll go over the reviews. We'll give you our review. We'll keep it spoiler-free, and we'll wait to do that till Friday. And then we also have a new video going up tomorrow talking about how all the ways in which James Gunn is making this new Superman relatable. So give that a watch. We have new memberships launching this week, later on in the week, as well as a Discord server that you guys have been asking us about for seems like months, if not years. So we'll get into all of that. So there's a lot coming your way soon. We're also going to have a tier list for you back next week. Tomorrow, we're just going to probably tier list our own reviews, if anything. So, but on the way out, Resident Justice, his reaction to Superman, saying, "I'm thrilled to share with you that Superman is indeed spectacular, and it reminds you why you fell in love with not just comic books, but comic book films as a whole. And if this is a sign of what's to come with the new DC universe under the leadership of Gunn and Safran, then we are truly in for a treat. It's everything they could have dreamed of and hoped as a fan of DC when they were a child," which really warms my heart, John. And then Daniel Baptista, and not being facetious, in a really genuine way, Daniel Baptista saying, "Superman is a generation-defining superhero movie and a soaring start to the DCU. James Gunn brings heart, humility, and hope to the Superman movie I've been waiting for my entire life. David Cornsweet is instantly iconic as the Man of Steel. The future of DC is very, very bright." So there we go, John. A bunch more, Jenna Anderson, we've already been over there. It's Grace Randolph. We were surprised by their reaction. Tomorrow, we'll go through our review, John. And I know we're both tired now. Just wait till we get to Friday, because we will be falling on the floor, but we will be here talking about Superman all week long. Yeah. Anything else you want to add to that, John? My voice is about to go. I feel like I've been, holy crap.
Can't wait.
as far as getting overhyped, I would just say, guys, look, when you go to the movie theater, leave all your expectations at the door, watch the movie, see if you actually like it for what it is, and then, you know, just give us your reaction, give us your genuine reaction. What matters not is what other people say about the movie. What matters is what you think about the film. That's really what it comes down to. So yeah, I mean, and look, Enterprising, I know you're happy that overall there's a lot of positivity out there. And then keep an eye out for reviews tomorrow afternoon. We will too, and then we'll be back live with a show to talk about that. Ron, Marco, Enterprising, Manos Time, Frankie, Angelica, everybody else who was here earlier, Steven, I think still watching. Thank you so much for joining into the show today. We love that you guys are here each and every day, and we really, really enjoy having you guys be part of the conversation. John, I'll see you tomorrow. Liz will be back on the show. We'll have Fiona on as well. Bridget is watching the movie tomorrow, but then she'll be on the show on Wednesday to talk about it. Just remember, guys, we'll be doing a spoiler-free review tomorrow. We'll also then be talking about it on Wednesday with Bridget. And then later on Thursday, we'll continue the conversation. On Friday, we have a full spoiler conversation about Superman. So we've got a full week of shows for you. Thank you again for joining us for Superman social media reactions, all the other stuff we got into, the box office predictions, and I'm sure we'll be back for more tomorrow. Until then, as James Gunn and Superman would tell you, don't forget to look up.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts. Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to